Holy shit, wait, no, wrong one. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. There we go, wait, there we go. That's the one. I got excited and pressed one too many buttons all at once. Hey, folks. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome in, potato, buddy, old pal, old friend. Welcome in. You are, in fact, the first into the chat today, which means you actually appear to have beaten Struggle Bus. I don't even know if he's here right now. You might have appeared before Struggle Bus, which is a big thing in this channel. It's the first time that's happened since I started streaming again, I think. Yeah, like it's a straight up achievement unlocked. Struggle Bus. Hey, welcome in, buddy. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, I've mentioned in the past, right, that let's not say things we can't say. Sweetheart, oh, kitty. Let's see. Are we gonna start the stream with cat? I think we are. Oh my God. Yes. There we go, sweetheart. Hey, who's a good kitty? We are starting the stream with cat. Look at that. Does she hate all of you? Yes, she does. Oh, she hates which such words. There we go. Bite, Dad. I'm gonna bite you. I'm gonna bite you. Bite everything. I hate. I'm full of so much rage, Dad. So much rage. I'm gonna bite the fuck out of you, Dad. Dad, I'm gonna bite you so hard. I'm just getting up the energy to bite the fuck out of you any second now. Any second, just bite. Anyway, hi folks. I am holding a cat that is just it's incandescent with rage and barely holding itself back. I love you so much. Here you go. Go away, sweetheart. No, but not onto the. There we go. Go get some kibbles. Anyway, hi. We made it, folks. We made it to Friday. Holy shit. It's been a week. I hope everybody out there has been okay. It's been a momentous week for everybody. Hey, Phoenix Scientists, welcome in. Always more chaos here on the stream. Big fan of that personally, on a personal level. Those of you who were just here, my cat was just here. I do not think she will be returning. She is walking away. She is stately. Her tail. You ever seen a cat's tail when it does that little twitch, like barely contained vibration of rage? That's her. She will not forgive me for what just happened on stream. No, seriously. Yeah, straight up. I mean, she's also she's going to remind me sooner or later that 5 out of her 6 ends are pointy. The twitch of annoyance and judgment. That's her. That's the cat I've chosen. When I went to a shelter looking to adopt a cat. That was my goal. Go to shelter, and I was like, I let me see your cats. I said, and they were like, cool. Here they are. And if most of them ignored me, and most of them were normal, and most of them were fine. And then I saw this little beautiful little tuxedo cat she was in her kennel. She was not outside roaming with the rest of them. She was in her kennel. She was in a little comfy bed, and she was just by herself, just doing the biscuits, just happily all by herself, separate from all the other cats. And I was like, yeah, I feel you there. I too just do the biscuits of happiness when I'm by myself. I'm a lonely and lonesome fellow. And so may have been why I was looking for cats. And I look at this beautiful little tuxedo cat who seems to be just purring up a storm all to herself, has no need of me. All right, ladies, gentlemen, you know what's really attractive in a person? When they don't, or in a cat apparently, when they don't need you at all. That's nothing better than that. And so I saw this feline that was absolutely, completely happy without me in her life. And I said, I like that one. And I reached out to see if, she'd let me pet her, right? And, you offer her kind of your hand, and she sniffs. and doesn't immediately take a swipe at me or anything. So I kind of put out my finger, and she sniffs it once or twice and then proceeds to bite. Not hard, not like an attack. She just simply opened her mouth, bit down, gently but firmly, and continued purring, while just kind of holding my finger. And then eventually kind of just gently let go, and it kept, and purred even louder. I don't know what it says about me that the cat that I chose was the one that got a taste of me and decided she liked it. And I was like, that's the one. That's the one that already knows that when I die, I'm good eating. That's the one I wanted. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, and you know what? The rest is history. The only reason I didn't come back with 2 cats is because they did warn me. They were very clear. They were like, hey, just so you know, her name is Esmeralda. And I was like, fuck yeah, because I suck at names, and that is a good cat name. Esmeralda it is. The other thing they said was, you've made similar dating decisions. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not the worst. It's not the worst way to choose. Maybe not a life partner, but definitely a date for the night. If they bite you and it seems to be enjoyable for all involved, maybe there's something there. But they told me, hey, just so you know, she has been returned twice. And I was like, oh no, what happened? Does she have behavioral problems? Does she have medical problems? Like, what's up? I still want to take her, but I want to know, just so I'm aware, right? They were like, well, here's the thing. She cannot be around other animals. She can't be around other cats. She can't be around other animals. She simply will not get along with other animals. I'm like, but she's fine by herself. Oh yeah, as you saw, she's by herself. She's happy and content, but she simply does not tolerate being around other animals. She needs to be queen of the pile all the time. And if she's being brought into a home where there's already cats, it could cause problems if she will not be able to adapt correctly. And I was like, perfect. No, I have no other pets. It's just me and her. I work from home most of the time. Yes, this is fine. And so it's just basically been me and her ever since. I think I've had her for like going on 7 years now, and I don't want to think about how much longer, because cats don't live forever, which seems unfucking fair as far as I'm concerned. Just not fucking fair at all. So I'm not gonna think about that anymore. Instead, welcome in, folks. I've shown you my cat. Please respond. But so this morning, today, what are we doing today? It's on the stream title. We're looking at my game. I do this to other people's games all week long, right? I look at indie games. We've been looking at Curseborn all week, and that's been dope. We're big fans of Curseborn so far. Don't you bring Lifespan into this? 2 kittens that are 8-year-old sisters yet? No. I mean, anyway, I've been looking at indie RPGs, and I do some gentle critiquing. Sometimes I'm an asshole. I fully admit this. But Fridays are payback days. Fridays are when I work on my own game, because isn't that how it goes? You play a bunch of tabletop RPGs and you think to yourself, I can do that. I can do that. That's not hard. I can make shit up. And so you do. You start doing it, and it turns out it is hard. It is in fact real fucking hard. So I would invite you all now to judge me. I did this last week, and last week we looked at the beginnings of my system, and so we'll do a very quick overview of what we saw last week, because it's important that you know the system. And then today we're diving into some of the actual character classes that I have in my game. So I'm excited for that. Let's see. I'm not playing Street Fighter, the Storytell game. No, not today. If we had Stevedore on stream, but I believe Stevedore, unfortunately, these streams I think happen probably when they're at work. So that's a shame. I really do need to adjust my stream schedules more. It's a long story, but if he was here, and that's, you know what, someday, I know, look, work is no excuse. I've given everybody, you have a note from me, in spirit, but tell your boss I said it's fine. If your boss doesn't agree with that, doesn't understand that, then I think you know what you have to do, right? I think you know that's not the kind of boss you want to work for. So we'll see what we can do about Stevedore. But if we get him on stream, which I would certainly like to do, I'm game. Let's do it. Let's go over Street Fighter, the storytelling game. I am down for that. Let's open up that PDF and look it over. I'm down for that shit. And yes, Phoenix Scientist. I told you, it's all of us. It's all of us. We've all had those thoughts. And then there's the smaller subsection of those of us who then go ahead and try it and quickly figure out, oh shit, this shit's hard. And then fewer still actually get to produce a game. Fewer still of those are actually good, solid games. And then fewer still of those are fucking Dungeons and Dragons, which means nobody pays attention to them anyway. But we do it for the love, not because we want to, but because we have no other choice. Because the fucking 800,000-pound dragon in the room always keeps sucking all the air out of it. Anyway, folks. Let's see, you're typing away some code to try and adapt the 21st century to 1980s programs. This works just fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So, now that we've done our little intro, we've come in, and as you see, on Fridays, I actually allow myself to sit down. I'm at a chair. Most weekday streams, I'm standing up so I can kind of go back and forth and do my little dancey dance as needed. But now we're focusing, we might be doing some typing. We're working on a game system, so comfort is important. And on that comfort, I have these buttons. I'm going to hit the button now. Let's see if this works properly. There we go. I did it. That is my game. That's where we left off last week on my game. I'm so proud of us. Look at that. But I know not everybody on stream was here and present for the full stream last Friday. So let's do a very quick overview of what we saw, what we did, what we got so far in this game. The game itself is called Seeker's Call, right? Present. Yeah. No, you're here, buddy. You're here. No worries. We're catching up. Let me find my main hero, the homepage for Seeker's Call, right? So this is a world where everybody has magic. Kind of like that. It's a world. Think of the first inspiration that I've got, and this may be a bad example because I'm using anime references that y'all may not be up to date on, but think of My Hero Academia. It's a series in which everybody has what's called a quirk, which is a minor superpower. And then some people have more powerful quirks, some people have weaker quirks. You can evolve your quirk into different ways. You can practice it. You can work with it to make it more powerful. Blah 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 blah. This is kind of a fantasy version of that at its core. It is a world more kind of, semi-medieval fantasy. There's a kind of steampunky level of magitech in some parts of the setting, but it's still very much a fantasy-based setting, and everybody has what's called a gift, which is an innate gift of magic, of gentle magic. The magic in this world is very much natural and built into the weave and weft of reality. It is not a magic that seeks to harm or destroy, and therefore the gifts tend to be, very gentle gifts, very soft powers, very things that are meant for comfort or for ease or for day-to-day utility. Not really a lot of like fireball throwing or dissolving people into acid, right? That's really not how the gifts work. But that is the core of it. It's a medieval kind of world where everybody has a little magical gift at their core. And then from there, we get a lot bigger. Now, in this world, the setting for the game itself, Seeker's Call, and why it's called that, in this world, there are the these places where that magical nature of the world kind of gathers up and rises up and bubbles up, kind of like natural springs, but for magic. And these places produce what are called delves. And delves are little magical spots in the world where the rules of reality are flexible, and where they can be just a place that fits in with the rest. Just your regular surroundings, but made a little bit more magical, or they can be straight up just little alternate dimensions. And these places that are so filled with magic and so filled with mystery and wonder, some of them over time, over the past few years, have started to become corrupted. They're known as discordant delves, and these corrupted discordant delves damage and hurt the landscape and the people around them. There are towns nearby some of these delves. Dangerous things escape them, hurt people, the landscape changes, the magic around it is not working. So somebody needs to fix that. So I wanted adventurers, right? I wanted a game where you get to play adventurers, but I didn't want to do just D&D. So in this game, adventurers are known as seekers. And seekers are people that have felt a magical call towards these delves, towards these discordant delves, and they have the need, the calling to heal them, to go and find what's wrong and make them better again. And those people who answer that call become seekers. And when you become a seeker, you still have your core gift that you were born with, but you get additional power. You effectively, quick step back, this is kind of like in world mythology, it is said that everybody when they are born has a magical word inscribed directly on their heart, and that magical word is what defines the kind of magic that you are attuned to and the nature of your gift. I don't want to go into wizards. Wizards are a whole separate thing and a whole separate game, but basically, long or short of it is, wizards in this world are people who have rejected that gift, who effectively strike out that word written on their heart, and they lose access to that magic, but by doing that, they're able to access the rest of the magic of the world. And seekers are people who still embrace the word they were born with, still embrace their resonance, their original nature, but by answering that call, they effectively receive a second word that corresponds to the mystery and the adventure that they are going to go into as they become a seeker, and they gain new powers, new abilities, powers and abilities that become actually more powerful when they are within a delve. So that's kind of another reason for that players want to go into these delves and go adventuring, is because their abilities, they themselves are made to be more powerful and more useful inside a delve than outside. Outside they still have some extra power, but really they shine when they're inside a delve, because that is their purpose. That is their purpose, to go into the delves, seek out the discordance at their hearts and heal them. That's your basic gameplay. That's your basic gameplay loop. You are playing seekers, traveling the land, going from delve to delve, healing them and growing and learning from them. That's the game in a nutshell. Thanks. Good stream, everybody. Go home. And so we went to a few things, and we looked at the base system, the action roll, the action resolution of this system, and it is based around, I put it here, it is around the open source system known as the Pool, created by James V. West. Does the power come from the discordance, or the world's need to balance it? It's more from the world's need to balance it. The discordance is what's wrong with the delve, your magic, your gift, and your calling as the seeker. So effectively, it comes not so much from the discordance, but from the delves themselves. The delves are the call is coming from inside the delve, basically. It is in a way their cry for help, and you are answering that cry. And by answering it, you are rewarded by the magic of the world rather, by having this extra word, and the powers and abilities that come with it that allow you to have that connection to the delves themselves and heal it. But the discords within them are not really the source of the power. They're what needs to be fixed. So in that sense, it is more of the world's need to fix. They are effectively being drafted as magical social workers by the force of magic itself. So the world itself, yes, in a way, yes. Not in it is not. I wouldn't necessarily say the world is conscious, potato, but it is. It's weird because I said this before. Like, the magic of the world is meant to be gentle. I originally wanted to put in a restriction in the magic that it couldn't be used for any purpose that caused harm, but that's really hard to adjudicate at the table. And you're gonna have, kind of like an immune system response. Exactly. The system is broken, and you are the world's response, the magic's response to that discord. So potato, it's almost better to think of it like an immune system, like Phoenix says there. But at the same time, the magic of the world does have a certain intelligence, a certain consciousness that is very much not human, not the way we think of it. But it is more than just a pool of power, right? It seems to have needs. It seems to have certain preferences. Again, the magic of the world, the people, its nature, when people use those powers, is gentle. Nobody is born with the ability to cast fireballs. Nobody is born with the power to cause harm or pain or anything like that. There's no powers like that. There's no outright natural magic that is like that. That said, people do be people. Right, people, and so they will find ways. And originally, my intention was that the magic system was going to actually have a sort of active intelligence, where it would refuse to work if the magic's intent was violent or harmful. But again, that just, in terms of a game, it was going to be a hassle, because it's going to basically make it so that the GM, the storyteller, is constantly having to decide and quantify whether a player's choice to use their gift for X or Y reason is quote unquote pure enough or clean enough, or are they using it in anger? Are they using it as a way to want to damage or hurt somebody? Like it's not going to be fun. That's not going to be fun at the table. Well, so the way I'm doing it now is that magic direct gifts cannot be used to cause direct damage. So, for example, if you have a gift that allows you to create small flames, if you actively try and burn someone with those flames, they'll gutter out. They won't work. You can't cause direct damage. But if you were to use those flames to ignite a torch, and then hit somebody with that torch, then yeah, they'll get burnt, because it's just flame at that point. So, and that's really it. If after that, if you're able to do something that is not directly harmful, does not cause direct damage, then from that point on, it's basically all fair. So it is more of the nature of magic is to be gentle in this world, but humans do be humans, and I'm not going to artificially put that much of a restriction. It's more of a hurdle. Like, the magic of the world does not easily or rapidly lend itself towards pain, suffering, or harming others. But humans, being humans, they've found ways around that. And that's kind of the idea there. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense there. Um, so again, before we go forward, I just want to kind of go over the system real quick. It is based around the pool by James V. West. So it is a dice pool system. You roll d6s, and you basically at its core, you have a set number of d6s that you roll. You have one just for making the roll. You can get additional d6s if you have certain aptitudes that match the action, and then you have a pool, as the name implies from the original system, of d6s that you can use to try and make that action easier by risking those dice in that pool. The more dice you have in the pool, the more likely you are to succeed, and you succeed if even one of those dice rolls a 1. That's the system in a nutshell. Certain things might take away dice from the pool, certain things might put dice on the pool. There are certain mechanics for what's called resonance, and there are specific mechanics for assistance. We'll kind of retouch on that when we need to. I don't want to spend an entire hour re-explaining the action system, but I can at least give you a little flow chart here. You want to make an action roll? You start with 1d6. You apply any modifiers. Do you have resonance on that roll? No? Cool. Keep going. If you do have resonance, and you decide how to apply it. Or you don't, either way, now you decide how many extra dice are you going to risk on this roll. That's called risking connection. Your die pool is your connection pool. You risk as many as you want. Then, is somebody assisting you? No? Cool. Go to the roll. Is somebody assisting you? Yes? Then deal with that. Now we make the roll with all those modifiers. Did you fail? Did not a single one of those dice come up with a 1? You failed, and deal with that. Did even a single one of those dice come up with a 1? You succeeded, and then you as the player decide how exactly you want to succeed as either a right or a discover. That's it in a nutshell. The whole thing with risking connection is that if you fail that roll, all those dice that you risked go away. If you make the roll, you get to keep those die. So there's a bit of an economy, a bit of a risk that you've got there. And with that in mind, I will answer your question when we get back from ads, because it's telling me on screen, it's once upon again, time for those ads. So this is perfect, because we finish the thing, come back, answer your question, and then we can actually dive into the callings and the actual character classes. So I'll be right back, folks. We're back. I did it. I successfully did an ad break. I'm so proud of me. Now look, Potato, I have an answer for your question. I do have an answer for your question. And the answer is sort of. So the idea is that, like I said, it is conscious in a way. It is naturally gentle, but it is also meant to be an unknowable force. It is, think of it as kind of a mother nature kind of thing. These delves, the discordant delves need healing. Nature is effectively crying out, and that cry is what certain people feel as the call. Those who answer the call become seekers and are drawn towards these discordant delves and are given the power to explore them, and heal them. While there is a will of the world, it is less. It is more like nature has a state that it wants to go to, right? Like there's a balance in nature, and the world, the nature of magic itself is that it's going to try and heal itself, and it will try and heal itself sometimes in ways that do come off as willful, right? It's not just, oh, this is the natural, certain things return to balance naturally because that is how the world is. It is that, but in a magical, willful sense. So yes, the magic of the world might occasionally act up to benefit players, but they're not going to get necessarily like clear instructions or anything. It's more like, wow, that was weird and lucky that this random natural feature happened to be there. That sort of thing. Like magic will encourage the players to heal it. It's there for them. Hey Himang, how you doing? Hey, yes, I do use Obsidian too. Yes. And thanks as always. Thanks so much for the cheering me on in the stream. And yeah, sure, this is the graph view here. So, my graph view for this, you mean the Obsidian one? Because I have a graph for the, no, let me see, actually. I haven't put that up in a while. Should be this one, graph view. There we go. This was not too crazy, honestly, because this one's like just dedicated to the game. Oh, stop it. and to just some random notes. So it's not as crazy as some graph views I've seen. I've got a couple of sort of standalones that aren't really connected to anything. But yeah, there you go. Obsidian nerds on the chat. There you go. Preview. Let me go back here. Where am I? Quick note. Yeah. Boom. Jesus Christ. Chaos. And this is a game that's unfinished, and I don't even have that many connections. You'll notice most of this is not really connections. Connections here at the back. I'm not going as wild as some other people have been going with Obsidian. Like, and this stuff, these flowcharts here. I'll show you what that actually looks like. That's what this looks like. This is the code for flowcharts. You see, that's a mermaid code. So all of that turns into this. So that was fun to figure out. But also it means that all of these are just text documents. That's the beauty of Obsidian. At the end of the day, all of that is just this little block of text. So that's nice. I like Obsidian. Anyway, we've gone over the system, folks. We've gone over the system. You get the ideas. We've answered some questions on the nature of magic. Now, let's actually look at, oh, that's not what I wanted to graph you. Well, let's just kind of keep going back here. Here we go. Let's go to characters, creation, and reference. So we actually did see the initial character creation last week. I'm going to just touch on it again real quick because this first hour, it's kind of the time. It's a moment to catch up, right? We established that we have every person in the world, right? We established that they have this connection to the heart of magic within themselves. If Obsidian goes down some way, exactly. It's just text. It's just markdown formatting. This is like showing it in this way that makes it a little bit easier to play with. But like if you do source mode, like that's what these look like, right? This is like the pure markdown. You can actually see the mark up / mark down stuff, and then you actually just go back to just the reading view, and it hides all that from you. But at the end of the day, these are just standard markdown documents. Like this here, these are just, each one of these is just a file that ends in empty. That's it. They're just in a folder. There's nothing too crazy. I love Obsidian for that. And it's free. What more could you possibly want? Anyway, so characters in this game have a connection to magic. Each connection to magic is divided into three resonances, three familias for the type of magic that it is in this world, right? You've got the corpora, which are the physical worlds, various elements and energies, your body, living things, various natural energies of the land. Mente, the landscapes of the mind, thought, imagination, illusion, emotions, language, perception. And pneuma, which is the flow of magic itself, the mysteries of the spirit world, and the beings and aspects that surround us. And then based on when you're creating a character, you will pick one of these three main resonances for your character, and within that resonance, like it's going to corpora, you will pick a specific aspect that is going to be kind of your what's called your resonant aspect, which is the main thing that is your kind of your resonant nature, which that's how we say and potato to kind of bring that all together is that your resonant nature is this aspect. These are just some example ones that I have down here, but I definitely need and will have more examples eventually. But if that aspect that your soul sort of resonates, that natural aspect, whenever you take an action that falls under that, it's called a resonant action. And it means that you are resonating with the nature of magic itself. You are born in a certain specific way, or you are shaped into a certain specific way, and then when you act within your nature, you kind of flow a little easier. You have resonance, and that's reflected mechanically in the game by the roles that have resonance being a lot easier for you to succeed in. So in a way, it is baked into the system for that the magic system encourages players by making it easier for them to go with what the natural sort of aspect is supposed to be, if that makes sense. Now, once you've chosen which one of the three resonance familias you're part of, and you've chosen your aspect, then you go through the rest of character creation, which I'm not going to go over right now, other than to say that aptitudes are basically the things you're good at, discords are the things that you're not good at or that are problems, and discords also count as injuries. So injuries also effectively are a type of discords. Your connection pool is that bunch of dice that I told you that you can risk on rolls. It is also effectively your energy. Oh, here, I have an actual description here. I will read entire books from other people, but I won't read my own, apparently. Your connection pool represents your character's ability to push themselves and impose their will upon the world through action. It will fill and empty through play and can be used to increase your chances of succeeding on actions, to power your numina being magical, your magical powers, and even permanently advance your character. So they're a little bit like XP from Numenera, but they're almost like a crossbreed between XP and the action or attribute pools from Numenera, in that you will gain and lose them as the game goes on, but they can also be spent for specific effects in addition to just being part of the action economy kind of thing. And then once you've got all that and your connection pool, the other thing that defines your character, which I really should put better. I think there's a place around here where I should add that, because I think it's put in the, it's not even in character advancement. Yeah, I need to find a better place to put this. But there is a part of character creation that, where is that actually? Let me see. Bear with me a moment. Choose your resonance, go to your aptitudes, blah blah blah. Okay, so we talk about the story, grounded in character story. Look at your story. Okay, but where do I see this is me having to take my own licks. Where do I actually define that? Because I've mentioned it and I know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about. It's not in connection pool, right? No. So where Where do I find the story actually? Oh my God. Who are you? Is it under connections? No, I think connections needs to go away. Yeah, this whole area needs to go away. This is based on an old version of the game, so this part is definitely not it. And items and gear needs to be revised, but that's not where I put this. Okay, so I actually don't know where I have my character creation and reference. Oh, your story. Oh, it's okay. Never mind. It's actually here. It's the beginning. I just didn't put it in its own page. It's part of character creation. I was like, I swear I have this. Come on, I did not just. I did make this up, but I didn't make up making it up. God damn it, Dan. Okay, so the core of your character here, before we even got to any of this and your resonances and all that, this was the first thing we needed to see for character creation. And again, this is stuff we covered last week, but just bringing everybody else up to date. The core of your character is your story. So your character sheet will have some places to record your resonances and your aptitudes and your discords and your connection pool and the noumena that are tied to your calling and all that. Yes, there will be all that soon enough. But the first thing, the core, your actual character, the definition of your character is actually their story. Capital S, story. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and story. There we go. Your character's story determines the kinds of aptitudes that they can start with, and adding to it is one of the primary ways in which your character can advance. So to start with, you write a 50-word story. So you're given 50 words to write your character's story. That is character creation in a nutshell. Think of it like your character's introduction in a book. Focus on your character's core and most important elements and their place in the game's setting. Don't worry about your character's resonance, their gifts, their noumena quite yet. We'll define the magical aspects of your character later on. And I know I'm going to have to put some examples here, but the idea is that kind of take a step back. Let's look at D&D. D&D, the first thing you tell a character about a player, somebody else about your characters. Oh, I'm a level XX. I'm a level 5 fighter. I'm a level 10 wizard. I'm a level 12 wild magic sorcerer, or I'm a level 7 shadow thief. Whatever. In something like Numenera, you have your description sentence, right? I am a blank who blanks, right? I am a clever nano who travels through time. That sort. So you have your character sentence. And in this game, you can have the same thing. Once you've chosen a resonance and a calling, you can very much say, I am a robust bulwark. There's no real who blanks in this one, but you could say I'm a robust bulwark, that sort of thing. Or the classes, the callings actually have some old school names too, like a bulwark it can also be called a diamond heart, so they could call themselves I'm a robust diamond heart, or even go I am a corpora resonant diamond heart, or some stuff like that. Hi Kitty, hi. Are you actually going back? Are we getting the second coming of Kitty? Wait, we might folks, we might. Oh my god, are we getting that? I don't know if we're, yes we are. The blurry camera is trying to blur her out. I will not let it. I will instead, I will bring the cat with me. Oh my god, no, such anger, Father. Why have you betrayed me, Father? Why have you betrayed me by picking me up? You're not supposed to pick me up. You're supposed to lay back and let me get on top of you, because that is how she operates. Anyway, the most important part of this game is to occasionally pause and just kind of hold your cat. Just every now and then, you just need to just give a little pause, take a moment, really. I need to put that in the rules. It's very important, actually. I think it's critically important for this game that I add in regular cat breaks. Regular breaks, so you spend a little time with your kitty cat. Just pick her up. Just pick her up and spend some time with her. Spend some time with this weird little alien creature that you've let into your house. This God's perfect little murder machine. whose only weakness is that it's small enough that you can just pick it up and give it a little cuddle. Give it a little cuddle. So fussy, so warm, so incandescent with eternal rage. So much rage, so much fury. She longs for blood. The magic system in my game is gentle. It's a magic system that's gentle and soft. She is not. My cat longs for blood. 5 out of her 6 ends are pointy, and she has no fear of using them on any of you. She uses them on me all the time, and she fucking loves me. So, like, I mean, what wouldn't she do to any of you? I don't know how any of you even sleep knowing that a creature like this exists out there in the world, that a creature like this with such fury, such rage, such pure destructive potential is out there. Well, not out there. She's here with me, safe. Safe. She's not an outdoor cat. She's inside. She's contained. For now. For now! It begins! Oh God, I don't know how much longer I can contain her. But there we go. There we go. Anyway. Second dose of Esme. Hey, that's big. That's big. We do not normally get a second dose of Esme, but we got one today. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday, everybody. Hey, sign up for services. Sign up on the Twitch, subscribe on YouTube. I don't know, man, send me money or something. I'll make sure that happens again. All right, you all could make this happen, viewers, the power is in you. If you give me lots of money, I will build a fucking cat condo behind me. All right, I will do it. I'm just saying. Well, never mind. I'm down one viewer already. To be fair, I mean, she's a growing girl. She needs to eat. R.I.P. potato. R.I.P. I didn't think potatoes were good for cats. They're pretty much obligate carnivores. But where are we? Where did we leave off? We left off pre-cat saying that while you can sort of define yourself as a blank in this game, the idea is the first thing you start with is not choosing. You don't choose, like, you don't even choose a character class until later on, until you've already chosen your resonance and figured out your aptitudes and discords. The core of your character is a story. You've got 50 words to write who your character is as a person. There are a few of their experiences, where they come from, etc., etc., etc. Because for the next steps in character generation, your aspects will be related to the elements in your story. Also, your character's name does not count to the word limit, so you can use your character's name as much as you want within your story, and it's fine. I won't count those. Then, this is how you grow. At the end of each game session, you can add up to 15 words to your story, or you can choose to wait an additional session and add 30 words all at once. This is misworded here. It says if you choose the later option, you can use your story to add a new noumena to your character. I'm gonna actually reword this as, for every 30 words that you add to your story, you can choose one advancement. See the advancement rules on page XX for more details. So the idea is that your story will forever remain the core of your character. And so when you pick your aptitudes, it's actually bolded. One important aspect of your aptitude. So let's talk about aptitudes real quick, right? Every person in the world is capable of many things. Most of them are, in general, fairly capable of everyday tasks, but everyone also has particular things that they are distinctly good at or that they are known for. These are your aptitudes, and they help make your character unique. So it's a little bit like, they're a little bit like aspects in Fate. They can even be multiple words. Here I've got some sample aptitudes like diplomat in training, line cook, observant, linguist, patient, herbalist, brave, singer, mathematically inclined, poet, woodworker, nimble, stone carver, focused, friendly. So that they're just aspects. the two requirements for them are: one, they must be grounded in your character's story. So if you tell me that you want the aspect of a woodworker, well, where in your story does it say that you're a woodworker? Or that you, or you know, basically your story is your justification for your skills, which is why, as you add to your story, that's when you get to do advancements. Once you have 30 words or so, you can pick up additional aptitudes, and you pay for them with dice. Same thing for apologies. For other character advancement stuff, it's always based around your story. And so when you add to your story, you can add events that actually happened that you played out, or you can even add some like events that would have happened in between. So it's a way to keep defining your character story as you go. And then again, you choose your aptitudes and everything based on that. So it is literally, you're writing a narrative and you're pulling your mechanical aspects from that narrative about your character. And I think that's it in a nutshell for now. I think that's everything everyone needs to know. I can't do this every Friday. At some point, I'm just going to go ahead and have to start assuming the people who are on the stream know. But I think that's enough for you to kind of get a base feeling for as far as we got last Friday, what we saw around the game, etc., etc. So now we're going to look at the callings. And so I have 9 of them planned, and 3 of them for each kind of familia, for each type of magic. So 3 that are more sort of based around physical aspects, elemental aspects, 3 that are based around more mental aspects, and 3 that are based around more sort of purely magical or spiritual or almost meta aspects. Out of all of these, only these 3, and really these 2, are pretty much complete as of now. Not final versions, but at least I did what I wanted to do with them. Crafter is in process, and then all the other 6 all need to be basically redone from scratch. But the base concepts are: Bulwark is kind of like a tank. Protector, they can protect themselves and protect the party. Conflux are elementalists, basically. Think Avatar, The Last Airbender a little bit, because how can you not whenever you talk about elementalists? But Confluxes in specific have a subsystem where they can attune themselves to various elements at a time. As you grow in power, you gain the ability to attune yourself to multiple elements, and you can create effects based around the elements that you are attuned to at the moment, in addition to just gaining certain base abilities because of your attunement. So they're pretty complicated, but they're kind of fun. They're like a flexible elementalist. And then crafters are, as the name implies, crafters. They're tinkerers. They make things. They make magical items. And I'm actually really proud of the system that I have, because I historically have had issues with crafting and item creation in a lot of other games, because a lot of the time they'll be like, okay, cool, so you built a character with all these stats, intelligence and engineering and whatever, and the resources, so you can have all these things, so you can build items, magical items or technological items or whatever. Cool. And since I spent all my points on that, that's what my character is good at, which means I'm probably not good at a lot of other stuff like investigating or combat or healing or whatever, right? I'm a crafter. So if you make a character like that, the problem you run into in a lot of games is that your abilities are really only useful in between sessions, and even not that. Like, and I get it. In terms of like real time, you cannot normally just build a motorcycle in the middle of a fight, right? It takes time. It'll take time. It'll take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, to create the items. There's a time investment and effort investment and all that, blah, 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 which I get from a realistic sort of point of view, and from a just, it makes sense, but it's not fun. It doesn't make fun gameplay. And unless you have a crafter style character who kind of like the D&D ones who most of the stuff you make is weapons basically, um, then that means, okay, well, you've got some crafting skills, but also you've got some combat skills because that's your thing. You make guns, but if you don't do that and you don't have the points for the skills necessary to actually use the items that you create, again, it's not a fun thing to play. You're kind of useless the rest of the time. So I made a magical crafting system that I think is pretty flexible. It allows itself to be involved in almost every scene without, and that's the other thing, right? And the other thing is like, oh, okay, you want to create a new item. Okay, everybody else just go away. Go make yourselves a sandwich, go grab lunch, go whatever, because it's now time for me and the guy who wants to make a thing to sit down and spend the next half hour going through their thing. And that's also no fun for everyone else. So I want to create a crafter style character that gets to do their thing, gets to craft, gets to do the cool thing, but gets to do it as needed, gets to do it in a way that's more natural, that's more involved. So I'm really proud of what I did with the crafting. I think it works a lot better. So I'm excited to get to it. But first we got to go through bulwark and conflicts. So it is ad time again. Just looked down and saw the alert. So we're gonna hit ads real quick, and then we're gonna look at the bulwarks, and we're gonna see their powers. We're gonna see how that works, how they grow, what they start with, and we'll get some base ideas on what happens with each of these classes, because this was the first one that I made and I kind of finished, and it's going to be, to a point, a template for the other ones, for the minimum things that they want. So with that in mind, we're off to do the ads. Back in a minute and a half. Stick with us. And we are back looking at the bulwarks, the very first of the character classes in this, my game that I'm working on for me. I've made mistakes. I've made so many mistakes. All right, so let's look at the bulwarks. So like I said, we're going to have 9 basic character classes, bulwarks. Let's look at them real quick. So bulwarks are your tanks, conflicts are your elementalists, crafters are your magical crafters, and then the rest of them that we haven't created quite yet, or we have some info on them. This is old info. We're gonna base the new stuff off of the new info as we create it when we get to them, which will probably be next week. But the animalist is kind of a ranger type. The idea is that this was going to be a pet class. You're gonna have a magical pet, a magical animal that you can communicate with, that you have a connection with, and that can share senses, and it can grow, and it can have new abilities as you grow, etc., etc. So fun stuff there. Diplomats are going to be bardy. Diplomats, the idea is that their mental abilities. So quick sidebar. And I did kind of discuss this last week.
One of my little sort of hard lines in this game, because I did step back on the whole like you cannot use magic for any kind of harm, and just stepped that back and went to just like no direct harm. Like you do not cast fireball, do not pass go, do not cast fireball. Um, but the one thing that I will not step back on that's a hard line for me is mind control. Um, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's a personal squick of mine as well. I am a big believer in constant and continuous consent in all things, and it just mind control is again. It's a personal squick of mine. Do not like it. No judgment if any of one out there likes it, but I don't like it and I don't want it in my game. So in game, there are no powers that let you directly influence the mind of another, which makes it really hard to do any kind of mind based characters. So rather than, it's not so much directly influence as it is directly control, and specifically it's what's will, it's not self control. Sorry, I'm blanking on the term. But your sense of self is always yours. In terms of the magic in the world, it basically means that hey, in order to you always have that connection to magic because of the word that's in your heart, and that is literally, and metaphysically branded onto your heart. It is part of you. That connection cannot be directly severed or taken away. Even with wizards who cross out that heart, the scar remains, and it is that scar that effectively diverts the magic so that they have access to more of it. So there is no way for magic by default to get in between your free will. Free will, that's the term I was looking for. Get in between your free will and yourself, your heart, your magic. So that sort of magic direct control, direct removal of somebody's free will does not exist. But in order to make this possible, it is possible to make a connection to somebody else's mind for various effects. The only thing that is not possible is straight up mind control. But influence, sending emotions, increasing your own capabilities to make yourself more charismatic and more convincing, that sort of thing, yes, that's definitely allowed and possible within the magic system. But direct mind control, no. And because of the way the magic system in the world is designed, never. Well, because of the way the magic system is designed, but and also because I, as the world's creator, have put my foot down and said no, mind control is not possible within this system. But there is an in-system justification for it as well. I just want to be clear that it's an in-system justification, but also me, Dan, personally does not want mind control in his game. But with that said, that's why. So animalist is not going to be you control an animal. It's going to be more of a partnership, and your mente gift is what allows you to have that magical connection to this being. But it will be more of a partnership than a control. And with diplomat, you're going to be an influencer. You're going to be able to understand languages. You're going to be able to perceive emotions, perceive intents, to communicate better, to increase your natural charisma, and then I'm trying to figure out, and we'll get to it when we get to it, but I'm trying to figure out something a little bit more, something that's useful, in an action situation, right? Because that's another pet peeve of mine. I love playing social characters, right? I love playing characters that talk. My problem sometimes with that is that you have to have like this talker character who is then useless at everything else, because again, you invested all your powers and abilities just in talking. So fighting breaks out, and now you're useless. You have to stand back. In the meantime, because everybody else had to spend all their points on stuff that's not talking, it makes it so that the talker has to do all the talking. If the talker isn't there, they're fucked. Because everybody else has like, you know, charisma of -28 because they were min-maxing. I want to make it so that the diplomat is better at these things, but also give him some kind of ability to work in a more of an action situation. And I'm thinking some kind of like buff system, like a diplomat is able to create sort of emotional buffs for their party, and maybe possibly emotional debuffs for enemies or adversaries. So we'll get to that, but I think that would be a good way. That could be, so basically they are able to project a sense of energy and a sense of self-assurance that can work as advantages on rolls, or vice versa. You know, they can project an aura of despair, or an aura of sadness, or an aura of confusion, stuff like that. I think is kind of what I'd like to do. So a certain level of emotional manipulation that then affects roles. And then the illusion is kind of self-explanatory, right? You create illusions, and this was one that I had a lot of problems with when I was first coming up, because I kept saying like, okay, so I don't want any kind of mind control or mind influence. That's why I had to pair it back to mind control, not mind influence, because no mind influence means there's almost no point in this in terms of a game, right? And I was like, well, illusions are lies, right? So it would really make it, and again, the whole thing where like you can't use magic in a hostile way. It's like no, because then again, you know, it makes it so the GM would have to be constantly adjudicating every illusionary effect, like, oh, what do you mean behind this illusionary effect? Is it just for entertainment, or is it, you know, are you actually trying to fool people? Is fooling people is bad? And it's like, well, what's the point then? I can make myself invisible, but no, I can't, because that would be fooling the people that are coming to stab me, and no, ooh, that would be bad. No, right? So illusionist is going to be, you create illusions, and you know, as you get more powerful, the illusions have better effects and stuff like that. But I'm when we get to it, I'm gonna need some help, I suspect, giving them a twist, giving them something more than just like I am maker the illusions, yes? And maybe even a name change. I'm actually open to name changes for almost all of these. None of these are final terms. As a matter of fact, this isn't even an alpha document. This is like pre-alpha document. So keep that in mind. For these, I'm just giving the general ideas. These are the ones that we're going to go into detail shortly today. And then the pneumo colonies, I'll try to get through a little bit quicker. So there's the divers, the assistants, and the commerce. So divers were meant to be, the idea behind them is that their particular power set is specifically related to dives. Everybody, and as you'll see shortly, everybody has you know, your nature as a seeker. The powers that you gain by their nature, because they come from you being a seeker, and because of what being a seeker is, which is this answering this call to heal the delves, that means that your powers actually get stronger within a delve. You're particularly adapted to be in delves. People that are not seekers can go into delves, but seekers are made for it. Your powers become stronger, you gain power from it. Divers take that a step further. Divers are able to sort of commune with a delve, and they are almost critical to a dive, to a dive into a delve, which is that they have this ability to sort of sense their way around a delve. They have a natural sort of like, you know, they have a mini map effectively. They are able to affect things within the delve. So if there are environmental dangers, they might be able to either make themselves immune to those dangers, or lower the dangers, or change the nature of the dangers for the rest of their expedition to be able to deal with. Stuff like that. is the idea behind a diver. And a big part of that, and part of what makes them, first of all, that alone itself makes them very useful within a delve. But also, I think divers are going to be the ones that are going to be most naturally suited to finally resolve whatever the discord at the heart of that delve is. They will have bonuses and extra abilities for that, and also to understand it, because the discourse within delves are specific things, and they're going to change from delve to delve, and figuring out what the discord is part of the process. There might be some things that are obvious, like, oh, this is the delve that is meant to be sort of a subplane of fire, and at its core is this giant crystal of unmelting ice that is putting out the fire. Well, okay, that's the discord. That's a giant crystal of ice. So that one's easy. But sometimes you're just like, the delve is actually like a village of like sentient fungus people, and so you have to figure out what's wrong. You don't know. You don't understand their culture. You know something's wrong because it's a delve and you feel the discord in your bones, but you might not understand it. And so somebody like a diplomat would be very useful there, and somebody like a diver is going to be able to have a certain sense and connection to the delve that might help discover that better. So that's the idea behind divers. They are particularly attuned to the magical phenomena of delves, and they can help their group and themselves through those gifts. Assistants are basically buff and debuff specialists. So their whole thing is that they are going to be able to grant more power to other people, and kind of like, they're going to be able to grant more power to other people, and they're going to be able to permit. They're going to be a conduit, so that people with different powers will be able to use them together. So an assistant at higher levels is meant to be able to go, all right, I take your ability to control rocks, and I'm going to pair that with your ability to change temperatures, and with both of your help, we're gonna make magma. To give a really simple example. So that's kind of like a thing. They're going to be able to do that. The trick with that is, okay, so what happens when they're alone, right? What if there's nobody else to kind of draw power to, or give power to, or combine powers from? Then what can an assistant do for themselves? And I'm thinking they're going to be able to buff themselves to a point, and I need to find something to make them so they're not useless when they're on their own. And then finally, the commerce are going to be kind of nega psychics, but I need progression with them, right? And that's going to be the hardest part, because their core thing is that they are going to be able to sort of draw and steal magical power from others, and that's going to manifest in mechanical terms in an ability to manipulate the pool, right? You're going to be able to draw power and magic from others, and kind of convert that into dice in your pool, and you're going to be able to use the die in your pool as extra energy, so you can use them to risk connection as normal, but you're also going to have a set of specific calmer powers that allow you to empower yourself, or redirect that. And so they're going to be a little bit complicated, but I think they're going to be fun. I think they're going to be fun to go through, because otherwise just going like, oh no, all you do is shut things down, well, that's no fun for everybody. But if you can basically like, oh yeah, when magical effect hits you, you are able to effectively absorb that and then use that power to either make yourself stronger, faster, tougher, or redirect it to a new target or stuff like that. Or just kind of like absorb it to heal yourself, stuff like that. That's what I want to go with Calmers. Them, I don't mind so much if they don't have a lot of abilities unless they're absorbing something, because that's kind of their nature. But I still want to have, I still want to give everybody a little something that you just kind of get to have, right? So that is the until now 9 main character classes, their base concepts around them. And we'll start with Bulwark, because Bulwark is definitely the simplest of them all. But like I said, it's going to give us a framework, I think, for how we approach the rest of them. So this, now I'm going to do a little bit of reading, because this one's, like I said, it's basically finished, or at least what is here is what is meant to be here. Like, I am satisfied more or less with this, more or less. Just, terms might change, wording might change, etc. But what's here is kind of what I want in the game as of right now. And I'll explain a little bit about Numina as well once we get to them. But your Numina are basically your powers that you get by being a seeker. So they're specifically tied to that. So Bulwarks, called Diamond Hearts in past times, are the linchpin of any good expedition. So in this game, an expedition is the name of your party, your group. You're an expedition. Are the linchpin of any good expedition. Their gifts make them stronger, tougher, faster than most other seekers. The sight of a bulwark at the front of an expedition, clad in their traditional armor, is legend. Flexible leather with metal plates sewn on for both protection and as a visible record of a bulwark's achievements. Tales are told of experienced bulwarks whose armor shows the dents, holes, scratches, and tears of 1,000 blows and 100 battles, but only ever from the front. The gleam of the untouched metal plates at the back of a bulwark's armor is a sign of safety and reassurance known by all seekers. That's right, bulwarks never fucking back down. There's no greater shame for a bulwark than to have a mark on their armor from behind. So there is of course more to a bulwark's abilities than just being tough. There's plenty of tough men and women out there after all, but only a few can be called bulwarks. So potent is a bulwark's gift for protection that as they grow into their abilities, they can envelop others in a protective aura, pull an enemy's attention to themselves, block doorways and passages, or shove dangers and enemies back. Legendary bulwarks are said to be able to defend against anything, even non-physical concepts and ideas. So, starting Numina. So every class, every calling is going to have a starting Numina that you get level 1. You just got created. Everybody who is like you has this, and it is an initial starting Numina and then a delve ability, because as I've said, you're meant to be more capable within a delve. So as a bulwark, you gain the Diamond Heart ability. So all Lumina will have a little thing at the side which says, like, a number. That's the cost. Oops, I did not mean to actually move that. That's the cost, which means how many dice from your connection pool you have to spend in order to activate that ability. So if it's 0, that means there's no cost. If it's 1 or 2, then that's the cost. And I think that's it. Yeah, there's nothing additional. It's just the cost there. I think some of the other ones might have an additional thing, but not for Bulwark. Bulwark is just this is the cost to use that ability. So these two, the starting abilities, 0 cost. Diamond Heart. Bulwarks receive resonance on all rolls regarding resisting damage or overcoming exhaustion. Always active, no cost. Additionally, all bulwarks can handle an additional major injury, thus taking them to the maximum 4 major injuries before dying at the end of a scene. So basically, to explain this quickly, I think I mentioned this before. So when you get resonance on a roll, that basically mechanically means that roll is going to be a lot easier. You're able to risk dice without, or spend rather, or use your extra dice, your pool dice on that roll without risking them, which means you're much more likely to succeed because you can go all in without that risk. It also allows you to do a couple other things, but point is, you're good at that. Any roll that you have resonance on, you're gonna be much better at than someone without it. And bulwarks always have resonance on all rolls regarding resisting damage or overcoming exhaustion, which means that alone makes them far, far, far tougher than the average person. In addition to that, they also can take more injuries. So we went over that a little bit last week, but the Discord system basically makes it so that you as a character, you gain minor injuries. For every 3 minor injuries, you gain a major injury. If you gain 3 major injuries, then you're dead at the end of that scene. Diamond Hearts are able to go all the way up to a 4th major injury before they go down. Because again, they are tough. So that's their basic thing. That's it. Anywhere, all the time. The moment you become a bulwark, you will not stay down, right? You can take a lot of damage. When you're in a delve, you gain a boost, and the bulwark version of that is called push through. While within a delve, bulwarks receive an increase in their physical abilities that can turn the tide in any situation. By pushing themselves, they are able to perform feats of strength, endurance, and resilience far beyond what they should be able to do. The bulwark may choose to take the following discord, and so there's a specific format for discords, which is name, severity, and resolution. And so for example, this discord is called Exhausted. It's severity 3, and it gets resolved once you've had a full rest. So by taking that discord, which means now you have a discord tag on roll, so any roll that this exhausted tag would apply to, the exhausted descriptor tag discord applies to, is going to be penalized at a -3 until you had a full rest. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. And this is rough. This is rough because exhausted is going to apply to a bunch of stuff. As a storyteller, I'm going to apply this to most things you do. But here's what you get in exchange by doing it. It is pushing yourselves. It is supposed to be hard. It has a cost. But here's what I give you in exchange. You automatically pass your next roll regarding any physical endeavor. That's misspelled. There we go. Use of strength, resistance, or endurance. This applies even if the action being attempted would normally be beyond the limits of normal human ability or otherwise impossible for the bulwark to achieve. For example, lifting several tons, holding up a collapsing passageway, withstanding extreme conditions, punching through a wall into the chamber beyond, etc. The guide is final call on any use of this ability, but as a general rule, if it doesn't break the game, let them do it. So again, bulwarks are powerhouses, physical powerhouses, and they are that from level 1. Even from level 1, you can take a lot of stuff, you can take a lot of damage, and in a delve, from the start, you can do that push. Even if, this is a big penalty, but what it allows you to do from the start is that sort of that legend. This is one thing that I've taken, and I started doing this before I heard this term, but now that I've heard the term, I really dig it, and it is the idea of the class fantasy. It is the idea that when you think of a specific class or character type that you want to play, you have a certain fantasy about what that is like. And disappointment in games often comes when your class fantasy doesn't match up with the reality of play, right? So that happens a lot with rangers in many games where the class fantasy is a sort of like Aragorn, Drisdord, I don't know, kind of vibe, and then the reality is that it's you're just a fighter with a couple extra little things. So the idea is that, hey, the class fantasy of a bulwark is they are very strong, very protective, and that they are so resistant to things that at their peaks they can defend against anything. They can do these things that are beyond human capability. And so that's it. That's who you are as a bulwark. Even from the start, you have the ability to push yourself and to reach that at a price, but you can do it. And then as we now level up, as we'll see this here, you're gonna get a lot more stuff that actually, and that's easier to use. But from the beginning, the class fantasy is there, so you can end, or you can in your first session ever playing, it is conceivable for you to achieve your class fantasy. And I want to be able to hit that with all of them. That's why it's the second reason, besides just kind of being the simplest out of all of them, that I want to start with the bulwark, because as we hit the other ones, I want to make sure that I'm hitting that class fantasy on all of them. And of course, chat, I'm open to suggestions and ideas. This is a work in progress, and the reason I'm doing it out in public is that if you have questions or if you have suggestions, I'm willing to listen. I may not implement all of them. It depends. I have a certain vision idea for the game, of course, but I will definitely hear all of them, and if it's something that is implementable and that makes sense, fuck yeah, I would love to. So yeah, y'all are part of this now. So let's see. So additional bulwark abilities. So as you grow, you're able to choose new noumena to reflect the way your gift evolves alongside you. Whenever you advance, a bulwark may choose one of the following noumena abilities. Please note that some noumena may have specific requirements before they can be selected. So before I read them, let's just check so you can actually see that. So here's another little flow chart. So there are 4 base noumena for a bulwark: stronger, faster, hand up, and lockdown. So though any of those 4 you can pick up level 1, no other requirements. Then there's harder, interval, second wind, and fulcrum. All of those have requirements. So harder requires stronger, interval requires faster, second wind requires hand up, and fulcrum requires lockdown. And then the 2 sort of apex abilities: Aegis, which requires both stronger and harder, and I Still Stand, which requires lockdown and fulcrum before you can pick up I Still Stand. So basic, just they have requirements, and it also says like I Still Stand requirement, fulcrum, and fulcrum requirement, lockdown. So it's listed in the ability description as well. So we're gonna dive into the ability descriptions as soon as we get back from ads. I see the little alert on my screen. We're gonna do the ads, then we'll come back. We'll go over the descriptions. Hope everybody's having a good time. I certainly am. I'll be right back. There we go. We're back. I did it. I pressed the right button. I knew I had the right button. Hey folks, welcome back. Welcome back from those oh so exciting ads. I have no idea. By the way, I have no idea what ads Twitch is showing you. I hope it's not like the fucking Trump Billy Bass singing fish thing or something, or maybe it is. That shit's hilarious. But I have no idea. I'm just shilling ads out there. I've no research. All right, those guys that got busted for like taking money from Russia, I have no idea who I'm taking money from. I'm not actually taking money. I'm not getting paid for these ads. I'm forced to put them. If I could do this thing without the ads, I'd do it. That'd be dope. But I can't. You can if you pay money, I guess. But I don't know why you would. Why would you turn away the opportunity to be sold at? Right? I mean, that's the American way. It's the American way. And I'm so proud of us here, all of us here in America, because I mean that's it, right? It's nothing else. I don't think the internet is even available outside of America. I'm pretty sure as an American that that's true. So all of us here in America, we're very proud. Very proud. Thank you for watching the ads, and surely acting on them. I know. I for one do not even blink. I don't want to miss a second of them, and blinking would take that away from me. All right, I receive this. This is the price you pay to receive this level of entertainment. You have to watch the ads. It's a contract you've made. If you're not following the terms of the contract, they will find you. Hey, all right, so let's keep looking at the bulwark and their abilities as you grow. What else can you do? So, the first bulwark ability, Stronger, costs 1 point, one connection point. And this was about as simple as it gets. Activating this Numina grants +3 and resonance on your next roll for feats of strength. So that's really good. That's really good. That's solid. That's dope. That's OP. You spend one die. You spend one die, and for any roll that counts as a feat of strength, anything that requires raw physical strength, you gain 3 extra die to roll, and resonance. And I've made it clear, resonance is kind of a big deal on these die. So it basically makes it like, because again, class fantasy, you are the bulwark, you are the physical one. And this game doesn't have like strength, dexterity, stats, that sort of thing, right? It's these aspects. So while you'll probably as a bulwark already have aspects that apply to physical abilities based on your story, but also as a bulwark, you are supernatural. You are beyond that. So spend 1 die. You're pulling it off. You're pulling off the thing. You know, is it achievable? The only thing I might add here, and I don't think I need to, is the difference between this and push through is that one, push through is an automatic thing, no rolling. You can still fail this roll. You can't fail this. This is automatic. And therefore that's why it has that bigger penalty, the exhausted discord, instead of just costing you 1 point. But yeah, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. It's like that's the difference. This one you still have to roll, so you can still fail, but your chances are good. It's basically it's a near guarantee that you're going to be able to do the physical thing, because this is who you are as a bulwark. And then from Stronger, you can then pick up Pushback. So Pushback is the sort of the evolved version of Stronger. Has that as a requirement, costs you 2. So the bulwark with this Numina is in Numina is invaluable when an expedition is backed into a corner and just needs a bit of breathing room. By focusing their power outward, they can create a momentary but intense push that roughly shoves any creatures, objects, or even elements, such as dust or dirt in the air, that the bulwark does not want, up to 20 feet, 6 meters, away from them in a hemisphere around themselves. Items and creatures that the bulwark does not wish to affect, such as their expedition mates, are unaffected. The push itself does not inflict damage, but is powerful enough to cause living beings that crash into walls or large objects a minor injury. This force lasts for only about 6 seconds, though the bulwark may choose to extend the effect by spending 1 more connection for another 6 seconds, for as long as they have remaining connection to spend. So this one needs playtesting. A little bit of playtesting, because it's a level 2 power, and it is very useful. Shove everything 20 feet away. Depending on how things are, you can even get some damage out of it on enemies by shoving them away. But it is like a 1 round kind of thing. It's a 1 action, 1 moment, and then it stops. And you can keep spending for 6 seconds. For 6 seconds. I'm not sure if either I want to increase that duration by default, because you are spending 2, to make it so it basically lasts 1 minute per use or something along those lines, or have a level 3 power that's like called Shell or something along those lines, that extends this bubble for longer. Not sure yet. That's going to have to be play tested. That's the only change I might potentially do there. And then the next sort of like branch is faster and interval. So faster, simple, activating this Lumina grants +3 in resonance on any rolls for moving, dodging, jumping, or falling. So kind of self-explanatory. Stronger makes you stronger, faster makes you faster. Interval, level 2, requiring faster. Experienced bulwarks quickly learn that while being quick is good, having those around you be able to keep up with you is even better. Activating this Lumina and touching a companion grants them the effects of faster on their next roll. Importantly, this effect applies to all companions touching the bulwark at no additional connection cost. Go team. So I wanted this to be a very specific thing, because it's like, oh, you can help one person, but for certain situations, and especially for like, let's say, like, the mental image here, the fantasy of this particular power is that I really wanted to see. It's like, all right, we gotta outrun this. We gotta outrun like this giant Indiana Jones style ball that's coming through us. The bulwark is the one that has the power that lets him move faster, and by default it would have been like, oh, I can make one of you. I can give you one of you a bonus to run as well on this, or everybody grab a hold of me and run. And it's like an entire party, like 5-6 people, all of them just hanging on to the bulwark from one side or another, and just fucking booking it as his gift gives them all like this extra speed. I think it's just fun. It's just a fun option. So it's basically, yes. So, any of his companions that are in physical contact with him, he can grant them that. And I kind of kept that pattern going with a couple of the other powers. You'll see that soon enough. Harder, the next family. So basically, they've got strength, speed, and resilience, basically. So harder, 1 point. Use of this Lumina allows the bulwark to ignore one minor injury or prevent a set of minor injuries from becoming a major injury. This ability must be used at the moment of taking the injury and cannot be used to heal previously taken injury. So this is real powerful. This is, again, another thing that makes the bulwarks very resilient. In addition to just being better at resisting, being able to make the rolls, having resonance on those rolls, even if you fail the roll, you can still spend a point of connection through your harder ability to ignore to not get the minor injury that you would have gotten from such a failed roll. So again, bulwarks are incredibly resilient, and that they can keep pushing themselves. Aegis, level 2, which requires harder. This Lumina allows the bulwark to grant a portion of the protective gift to a companion, just like with interval and faster, Aegis and harder. The next time the target would receive any kind of injury, that damage is negated and the effect ends. This effect lasts until the next time the bulwark sleeps or the target takes damage. As with interval, this effect applies to all companions touching the bulwark at no additional cost, which means this is a really useful start of the adventure kind of power, or we're all about to step into the boss's den kind of power. Like, everybody put your hands in, and then do our little team cheer, and the bulwark grants Aegis to everybody. And so everybody in the party now has one get out of jail free card, basically. The next hit they take, no they didn't. So again, very powerful, very useful, and very useful for the rest of the party. So the pattern is like, level 1s are for yourself, level 2s are for the party, are for the boys, or for the streets. Let's see, and then there's the next family, right? Hand up, and second wind. So hand up and second wind. Yeah, exactly. So this is like stronger, faster, harder. What am I missing here? Stronger, faster. Oh, wait, I'm missing. Wait, stronger, faster. Do I not have harder and Aegis down here? I don't. I'm missing. No, wait. Stronger. What am I missing? I'm missing. No. Wait. I have the. Okay, no. This is stronger and pushback. Oh no, this is wrong. This is wrong. I just realized this is all wrong. No, stronger is supposed to be going to pushback. Faster is supposed to be going to interval. ID 10 is fulcrum. ID 0 is stronger. Stronger is to pushback. So why am I not seeing pushback there? And then that one goes here. Okay, so this table is wrong somehow. I'll need to fix this. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, stronger, harder, faster, stronger, faster, harder, and then hand up and second wind. So these are the helping ones. These are the ones. So you are, as a bulwark, you're kind of also a healer, because again, the whole thing is protection. So with hand up, there's nothing as reassuring as having a bulwark at your side in a fight. By activating this Numina and touching their target, a bulwark grants them a burst of invigorating and refreshing energy. The recipient of this Numina's effect can choose to either remove one minor discord or injury, or take a free +3 to their next action roll. So again, I give you a lot of power for yourself straight up from the beginning, and then you get to grow into, and a lot of the ways, the default ways that you grow is that you now get to grant those around you those same benefits that you have. Is kind of the way it grows, and that's, I want to maintain that vibe whenever possible. I want growth to be mechanically reflected in an ability to help more people whenever possible, right? That's not going to be possible with all of them. Bulwarks are very specifically meant to help people, so it fits there better than it might with some other character classes, but it is an approach that I want to take, something that we want to keep in mind as we go, right? Right. So second wind, the second level of that, requires hand up. A bulwark at their best is an inspiration to everyone around them. By activating this Numina, they are able to extend their gift to all their expedition members in the same scene, filling them with protective energy and buoying. That's buoying their spirits. Upon activation, all expedition members in the scene immediately clear one minor discord or injury from their sheets and receive 2 connection dice to add to their pools. Now that I read this is kind of wild. The cost of, so you sacrifice 2 dice, but you give everybody else 2 die and you heal an injury. This might be too powerful, or I might increase the cost of this. I think we're gonna need to, that might be playtesting requirement. But that's because it's everybody in the party heals up. I mean, we'll see if once I get a little bit of more playtesting, if it becomes necessary to maybe make this more expensive. I feel like it's being used too much. But that's Dan, you're really generous to your characters. Yes, I am. Now, the last set of powers, and this was actually a full 3 level one, in culminating on their final ability, which I'm excited to get to. Lockdown, cost 1. A focused bulwark is impossible to ignore. By activating this Numina, a bulwark forces their target to pay attention only to them, preventing them from taking any actions that do not involve the bulwark directly. While there is no additional connection cost associated with maintaining this effect, the bulwark must maintain it by likewise keeping their actions focused on their target. If the bulwark takes an action that does not involve their target, the effect immediately ends. So it's basically your taunt power. It allows you to effectively taunt one person, lock them down to you. The downside is that you are also locked to them. Then the next one up actually has a higher cost, fulcrum. In fact, second wind, I feel like it should cost more because of the healing, and so I'm gonna make that one cost 3. Yeah. Fulcrum cost 3. Its requirement is lockdown. In the chaos of battle or the wild savagery of an out-of-control delve, sometimes the only thing keeping an expedition from collapsing entirely is the steady, solid presence of a bulwark. When a bulwark activates fulcrum, they become. There we go. The strong, immovable center of their group. Every volley they choose to keep Fulcrum active, they must spend another 3 connection from their pool. While Fulcrum is active, the bulwark can take no other action. So I've given you a bunch of stuff yet here, and I'll get to it. Every other member of their expedition can then choose one of the following effects for their actions during the volley. 1. Receive resonance on their action. 2. Roll with +3 on their next action. Or 3. Resolve 1 minor discord or injury. So basically, combat in this game is meant to be resolved in volleys, and I'm not married to that yet. Think of a volley as a round in a traditional RPG. Every volley is one exchange of actions in between one side and another in combat. So this basically makes it so that you activate this ability, you activate Fulcrum, and you are the center of the fight for your party. So long as you keep that active, and it's expensive, it costs you 3 dice from your connection pool every round, every volley that you keep this active. But for that cost, everyone else in the expedition gets to do more during that turn. So okay, actually wait, so I might have found something, because this is almost exactly, yeah, this gives you, okay, this doesn't give you bonuses to your roll, it has the same cost, but it gives you connection dice. This one doesn't give you connection dice, but does also let you clear minor injury. It lets you choose between different effects. So actually this is fine. In fact, I might lower this to 2 again. Now leave that at 3, because it's still a lot. 2 connection dice is cool. It gets added to your pool, so it's useful for anything. And then Fulcrum is in the moment of combat. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it as it is. But it is powerful. It effectively takes the bulwark out of combat. Not out of combat, you're still in combat, you still get hurt. But this is what you're doing. You are focusing so much on supporting the rest of the party that is your action 100%. Supporting the rest of the party, and the rest of the party now finds their actions during that round, during that volley, a lot easier. And then the final sort of peak power for the bulwarks is I Still Stand, which costs a 4-fold connection. As a requirement, you have to know Fulcrum first. At the height of their power, bulwarks stand as solid as mountains, as undeniable as death, and as immovable as destiny. This numina can only be used once per day, and it allows the bulwark to plant themselves in opposition to any one thing, event, or action. By spending the connection cost and planting their feet on the ground, the bulwark's mere presence acts as an absolute denial of something. Other things can happen, sure, but not the one thing that the bulwark has set themselves in opposition to. The enemy shall not pass. The wall will not fall. Your charge will not die. Not today. Not while I still stand. So the mechanics on that is that when the bulwark activates that numina, it counts as the entirety of their current action. The bulwark defines one single event that either just happened or that could happen shortly. This event is prevented from happening or affecting the game. While the bulwark stands, they can take no other action than to speak and maintain the certainty of their resolve. So that is their peak power. It is very much fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. I will not move, and you can't make me. They can do nothing else. All you can do is stand there and tell people to go fuck themselves. But so long as you stand, you will prevent one thing from happening, which I think is amazing. I'm very proud of that. I don't know if y'all like it. I like it. I think it's very cool. And it is not necessarily a sacrifice. It is not necessarily a that's it. I did that. That's the one time, and now I don't get to use my character anymore or anything. Now, in theory, you could do this every adventure. I mean, if the opportunity comes up. But also, it is very much like a very thematic, very powerful, very sort of like peak of your power kind of thing, which I dig. I think it's cool. Chat. Am I insane? Is it not cool? I think it's cool. And that is the Bulwark in a nutshell. So this was, like I said, it's basically complete. We had a couple of very minor tweaks as we went through it, but this is basically it. Eventually, I might, once I might have more advancement opportunities and stuff. But this at its level, I mean, getting all of these advances is still like you start with your 50-word story, you added 30 words, you pick up stronger. You add another 30 words, you pick up pushback. You add another 30 words, you pick up faster. So even if you wanted to pick up all of these, it would take you, this is the equivalent of, going to level like 15 or something, right? So I think there's this room to grow for a while. Let's see. Oh, hey, chat. Much more options than the usual tank, so that is nice. I usually shy away from martial characters because what do? I hit a thing. Next turn, hit a thing. Exactly. So that's why I wanted to give the Bulwark. In fact, you'll notice that almost none of their abilities are direct attack abilities. Like, they have physical abilities. They can be very strong, but they're meant to be tanks. They're meant to take the hits, and they're almost more support characters than they are direct combat. In fact, you might have noticed almost none of these are direct combat guys. Conflux, I think, is going to be probably the closest that we have to a direct combat. Animalist, maybe. And I can see Commerce maybe also being a bit more combat-y. But Bulwarks are definitely defensive as a primary focus. And I guess I think that this gives you an ability. So it's like you're not just standing up there taking the hits, but you have a lot of abilities to make those around, especially as you level up. You're gonna have the ability to make those around you stronger, which is part of it. It's not just like, since you're there, you're taking the hits, but also since you're there, we're all now more capable. We're all able to do more because we have you there to count on. So that's the approach that I was taking there. So let's look now. Let's see where we at. Oh yeah, we got a little bit of time. We got about 6 minutes before the next ad break. So let's start looking at confluxes. So this one, I don't mind a hit a thing and hit it again character if you can flavor or mix it up again. Exactly, which is fair. Exactly. I mean, I one thing, and I'm excited to talk about once eventually, probably after this month, after we're all done with Curseborn. Once DC20 0.9 comes out, I'm excited to kind of give it the deep dive on these streams, because I think they've done a really good job of making martial characters more interesting. So I want to get into that because I agree with you. A lot of the time, like, that's why, like, in a lot of games, I will never play a fighter because that's all they are. And I don't want that. I don't want that in this game. But thank you. I'm glad it sounds like something you would play. It's very much, again, it's a very much support class at its core. So confluxes. So this conflux 0.9. I'm still not 100% on the conflux because it is as you'll see, there's a lot here. Conflux is deep. We're gonna end the day on confluxes at the very least. There's a lot going on here. Conflux is a much more complicated class than the Bulwark. Bulwark is very simple. It's honestly the simplest one of them all, I think. So it is in a way the fighter in that sense. Like it is like the player who doesn't know what else to play. It's a good one to give to them. But also it's not just a fighter. They're not just going to be hitting things, but you can give them one that's relatively easy to understand what you're doing and what your thing is. Conflux is much more complicated. So I'm gonna there's a lot of reading here. We'll get through it. And again, just my note to myself here, but sure, why not? Edit author notes. This is yet another stab at a full rewrite of what was once so it's originally called elementals, and I changed that. But with the new terminology and trying to approach it from the start, knowing what their abilities and processes are, so I kept making them up and adding new ones to the mix as I went before. Now I think I pretty much have all the core concepts mapped out, the way they interact with one another. So let's take another stab. Get a 3-hour epic fantasy music playlist going, and let's create a new calling. So we did this. This was a note to myself. A note to myself. Let's see. All things in the world are, at their core, magic. The Conflux understand this in a way few others do, as their calling transforms their corpora aspected gifts into an ability to magically attune to physical elements in the world, which manifest as their core, a magical, nigh indestructible gem somewhere on their body that serves as both the visible sign of their calling, as well as the focus for their abilities. So being a Conflux is more than just manifesting a pretty gem though. Truly bringing out its power requires a rigorous practice of mental and physical discipline akin to martial arts training that they call the 7 flows. So there is this calling in specific, like their bulwarks are just big, strong, protective people. They're kind of, and I did sort of mention that, and at some point I'm going to have to expand on that. I did mention a little bit of culture in that whole, like their armor, that note about their armor and everything else, right? But cat is here again. Cat is here again. I'm gonna give y'all some cat. I'm gonna give y'all some kitty. Hi, sweetheart. Why are we getting so many visits today? So many visits from my sweet little kitty reading. So, yeah, who's a sweet little kitty. So, confluxes. I'm gonna have to switch back to the thing that would require letting go of my cat, and that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen because I don't remember what I was gonna say with the conflict. It's okay because we're about to go to so anyway. Okay, no, she's leaving. All right, let's go real quick before we go back to the ads. So confluxes specifically, there is a cultural aspect to them. There is a training that happens, and they are almost a monastic kind of order that comes to them, that they do these trainings. So their specific sets of powers are codified as these 7 flows, and we'll read more about them very shortly once we get back from the ad break. You know how it is. I see the timer on the screen, and well, we gotta do it. We gotta do it, folks. So I gotta do it to them. I gotta do it to them. And we're back. Ads should be done, and I have returned. Folks, let's talk about the confluxes. Now, this is going to be a much more complicated character class than the bulwarks. Let's be very clear. As you'll see, I kind of got into it. There's a lot to go through, so bear with me, because this was a complicated character class, and I fear I may have made it too complicated. But let's see. Let's take a look. So Being a conflux is more than just manifesting a pretty gem, though. Truly bringing out its power requires a rigorous practice of mental and physical discipline akin to martial arts training that they call the seven flows. These flows allow the conflux to bring out the power of their core, manifesting both internal and external effects and allowing them to attune their cores to even more elements. More than anything else, though, these flows allow the conflux to guide the various essences within them to combine and become something new with aspects of each. So, before we keep going, think of the conflux. So, confluxes are the more like direct damage. This is your DPS, but they're also kind of sorcerers, mixing different essences to achieve different effects, and they are also, to a point, kind of like from Shadowrun, kind of physical adepts, being able to buff themselves with different effects based on the elements that they are attuned to. So, conflux are rarely subtle. Their displays of power are usually direct and flashy. Bright blasts of light or fire, rumbles of stone, roaring waves. Even their self-enhancement flows still require physical movements to guide the essences within their bodies. This gives the calling a reputation for being brash, hot-headed, or impatient. But the conflux themselves know the truth. You either stagnate or you flow. Core, essences, and attunement. So a conflux needs to attune their core to the essences that they wish to use. There are too many essences to count in the world. Everything can have its own essence. But each essence is unique and must be understood and mastered separately, a process which can take entire lifetimes. Over time, however, conflux have cataloged a series of essences that are well understood and suited for their use, and these are taught to all conflux as the Crystal Catalog, so named because of the similarity of their core to various gems when specific essences are attuned. The 12 essences of the Crystal Catalog are detailed below. Each essence has 3 aspects and 1 discord, the effects of which are detailed further below when discussing flows. So, quick pause there. In theory, within the world, this is being left open on purpose so that we have room to grow. In theory, there is an essence of anything. Essence of table, essence of air. Essence of air is definitely one, but like essence of anything, essence of copper, essence of really anything you come up with is going to have its own essence. And understanding an essence allows a conflux to attune to it and gain certain abilities from and for it. But, as I said there, fully understanding an essence from scratch is incredibly difficult, takes a lot of time, yada yada yada. So that's the excuse for why there are specific, because once upon a time my idea was that I was going to leave this 100% wide open so people could just pick whatever ideas or elements they wanted to attune to and go for it. That's still there if you can make up a good one, I guess, but now there's an in-game reason for why there are specifically 12 essences predefined. These are the ones that have already been studied and have been taught to those who follow the way of the conflux. So you don't have, there's a reason, like that's why we go to school and to college, so that we can learn these things that someone else had to learn from scratch, and that knowledge now gets passed on. So kind of like that, the knowledge, these elements are well understood enough that they can be taught without requiring a lifetime of study, and those 12 essences are known as the Crystal Catalog. Now, attuning to an essence takes both time and effort, usually at least a full day and night spent in meditation, as their core takes in the chosen essence and integrates it into the conflux's being until they are one. A core only has so much capacity for attunement. When first created, it can only attune to a maximum of 3 essences at once. If a conflux wishes to attune a 4th essence, they must first break their attunement to one of the current essences. Breaking an attunement is nearly immediate and takes no effort, much like releasing a held breath. As they gain mastery in their flows, the core can grow in capacity, allowing more essences to be held simultaneously. So, Again, quick pause. The idea is that you're an elementalist, you're a kind of elementalist, but you're not 100% tied to one specific or two specific elements. You at start have slots for up to 3 of these attunements, and you can change them out. You can swap them out. So before an adventure starts, you can swap out from the attunements that you know. You can swap out which ones you actually have active. So it makes you a very flexible elementalist. So core attunement effects. Being attuned to a specific essence grants the following abilities. A +1 die to rolls that involve one or more of the aspects associated with their attuned essences. The ability has no cost, but this bonus may only be applied once to a roll. If multiple aspects would apply to a roll, select only one. This bonus always manifests visually in some way, either as a chosen essence manifesting to give the bonus, for example, obsidian granting a +1 to resisting damage, manifesting as a crust of rock that appears over the area that would have been injured, or a white mist over their eyes as they use their diamond essence to sharpen their senses. This effect cannot be hidden, but the conflicts may choose to not utilize the ability if they don't want the bonus to the roll. So basically, when you attune to an element, when you attune to one of these essences, you will gain, and you'll see it here, you'll gain a default bonus, a +1 bonus to any rolls that, any rolls that involve one of those aspects. So let's take a quick look at the first aspect here, Ruby. Ruby, fire, the roaring flame, the burning hearth, the flickering candlelight. The ruby rules over aspects of fire. So the aspects are heat, light, and destruction. So while you have ruby as one of your essences, as one of your attuned essences, any rolls that involve heat, light, or destruction are going to get a +1 on the roll. But as said, that will show. Like, it will have a visible effect that you're taking that bonus. If you don't want the effect to show, then you can just not take the bonus. Then the Crystal Catalog. The Crystal Catalog, or Gem Codex, or some other name, which is better, I'm not sure. I'm not married to the Crystal Catalog yet. But you know, I guess, sure. Essences are not elements, though they may share many of the same ideas. While the classic elements such as air, fire, water, and earth all have corresponding essences, topaz, ruby, aquamarine, and emerald, respectively, there are many others which break that mold. In theory, the number of essences is unknowable. If it exists in the world, then there's an essence out of it. There's an essence of it out there as well. But the world is vast, and each essence within it unique and as complex as every other part. Mastering even a single one, refining its aspects and understanding its nature in such a way that the power can be harnessed by the various flows can take lifetimes. Sorry, give me a second. I have to quit ground control and get it again because my laptop went to sleep. There we go. And cool, beautiful. This is why, well, in Conflux is free to attune to any essence, so there's no restriction. There's no like, oh, you can't pick up jade until you have emerald or something like that. No, you can in theory attune to any essences at any time. Over the generations, a core group of 12 essences have been cataloged and understood better than most, and each of these is taught to all Conflux as they begin their journeys, either by another Conflux or by learning from a manual left by them. Attuning to each of these essences causes one's core to change color and appearance, making them resemble various different gemstones. That's what inspired the name for these 12 well-known essences, the Crystal Catalog. Among the Conflux, it is considered polite and proper to refer to the 12 essences by their gem colors rather than their essence. So a Conflux would generally say, I am attuned to the core of ruby, jade, and obsidian, rather than I am attuned to fire, wild, and stone. However, they usually have no issue referring to the essence by the traditional name when among non-Conflux. So basically, a little bit of both, like, right, you know, they're not expected to, if you're not a Conflux, to understand that sapphire means ice and citrine means sand. Like, they're like, you know, around you they might use the right words, but around each other they'll use the correct words. That's basically it. So each essence below has 3 aspects and 1 discord. Refer to these when applying the effects of core attunement and the various flows. So Ruby, we already saw, heat, light, and destruction, and discord, cold. So the discords take effect later on. Discords, we'll see what they mean once we get to the flows. Right now, we're still just, attuning to our cores, right? So out of all of this list that we're going to go through now, as a starting character, you're going to choose 3 of these to attune to at the beginning of your day. So aquamarine, water, the fluidity of the waves, the dance of a river along the countryside, the soothing burble of a hidden spring, the essence of water, ever changing, is reflected by the aquamarine core. So the aspects of the aquamarine core: adaptability, healing, and fluidity, and its discord is dryness. The emerald core, earth, the ground beneath your feet, the soil which nourishes, the land that sustains, not substains, sustains. These are the facets of Earth that are reflected in an emerald core's facets. I use the word facets twice. These are the aspects of Earth that are reflected in an emerald core's facets. So the aspects are stability, strength, and growth. And its discord is lightness or weightlessness. Topaz, air, the breeze that blows along the valleys. It speeds across mountaintops. It surrounds, yet is eternally unseen. The topaz core of air carries all of these elements within itself. Its aspects are freedom, speed, and invisibility. Its discord is stillness. Now we get to the more, somewhat more esoteric elements. So tourmaline is lightning. The bolt of light from on high, sudden and sharp, a single spot sundered by raw power. The essence of lightning crackles with all of these within the tourmaline core. So its aspects are energy, precision, and shock, and its discord is silence. Sapphire represents ice, the freezing chill of the deep glacier and the things hidden deep within, the crack of a frozen lake beneath your feet. Ice has an essence all its own within a frozen sapphire core. So the aspects of sapphire are cold, preservation, and stasis, and its discord is heat. Jade represents the element of the verdant or the wild, the creeping vine that twines along the roots and branches of a mighty ancient wood, the delicate dance and balance that is the very energy of the living world, the magic that draws an oak from an acorn. That is what the jade core carries inside, and its aspects are life, harmony, and growth. Its discord is decay. Obsidian is stone. Where earth is nurturing, stone is solid and immovable. It is the bedrock that can be built upon, the mountain that holds down the world, the obsidian core. And its aspects are endurance, weight, and solidity. Its discord is fragility. Citrine is sand. Sand is to stone as water is to ice, an essence all its own, as intense and suffocating as the desert dune that rolls over you, treacherous underfoot, relentlessly wearing down even the strongest rock. The citrine embodies all of these aspects. So its aspects are abrasion, shifting, and suffocation, and its discord is solidity. Hematite is the core of metal, the sharp ringing of a blade strike, the gong of a blow against a steel breastplate, the way an ingot can be shaped into a weapon or a tool. All of these are aspects of a hematite core. Its aspects are durability, conductivity, and malleability, and its discord is fragility. Amethyst, the wood core, which I didn't write a fancy paragraph for, neither did I for quartz. I need to write those eventually, I think. Amethyst is wood, flexibility, growth, and resilience with a negation of inflammability. Oh, right, because I was calling these negations before, the discords. Discord and discord, yeah. So I haven't rewritten those. And quartz, the crystal core, clarity, reflection, and structure, and its discord is opacity. So you'll notice that some of these elemental aspects are very conceptual. They're not physical necessarily, even though this is a corpora magic, core. Again, because you're a seeker, your gift grows beyond what it normally would be. Therefore, by using these flows, you're going to be able to achieve effects that normally somebody who's just gifted in corpora would never be able to achieve. So these are the 12 essences that you can start from. You can tune up to 3 of them. In addition to attuning means you have access to them. There is priming. So core attunement imbues a conflux's body with the various aspects of their chosen essences. While this effect alone can make a conflux a formidable force, drawing those essences out as part of a flow requires priming them so their power is ready at hand. Holding this power ready takes a toll on the conflux, which means they're only able to keep a fraction of their attuned essences primed and ready to use. If an essence is not currently primed, it's not available for use as part of a flow, but its passive core attunement's bonus remains. A good way to think about it is that a conflux's core attunements are their available arsenal, and their primed essences are those weapons and tools that they've got ready at hand to use at a moment's notice. You can always go back into your arsenal and swap out what you're holding in hand. It's going to take a few minutes. A starting conflux can keep a maximum of 2 essences primed at a given time. Priming an essence is easy and can be done with just a few minutes of concentration. Like core attunement, if you have already primed your maximum number of essences, you must release your hold on one of them first. Doing so in a stressful situation such as combat is normally not possible. Advancement to the various flows will allow a conflux to prime more essences simultaneously and even be able to switch them out with an instant action. So, in a nutshell, you've got, you start your day. You start your day as a conflux. First thing you do is you start your arsenal. So it's a starting level conflux. You're gonna pick 3 essences to be attuned to for the day. And for those 3 essences, all those aspects that apply to those essences, just by being attuned to them, you're gonna have +1s to rolls that apply to those aspects. So that is being a conflux at its most core level. You prime, you attune yourself to certain elements, and that makes dealing with things that have a connection to those elements easier. That's the core. In addition to that, once you kind of like attuned yourself to what you can attune yourself for the day, and you've got that core attunement, then you're going to prime 2 of those as a starting level. You're gonna prime 2. So think of it as like putting one of those elements each in one of your hands, and now they're ready. They're cocked and loaded, and those are the ones that then you're going to be able to do flows with, that you're going to actually be able to do the funky conflux stuff with, because they're ready to go. And if at some point that 3rd element that you are attuned to but is not primed, you need it, then you gotta let go of one of your primes and reprime to the other element, and now you've got these 2, and now you can do a flow that involves those 2 elements, because as you'll see shortly, you're gonna be able to mush them up and do stuff. I did say confluxes are a little complicated. So let's talk flows. The ways in which the conflux calls upon their chosen essences are called flows, and each flow has an inner and an outer aspect to it. All beginning conflux start with elemental gate, and the inner and outer flows of shaping. The flows of expansion, synthesis, growth, and creation can be learned as an elemental known as a conflux. Conflux advances. In order to learn a given flow, you must already know the corresponding flow from the previous level. For example, before you can learn the inner flow of synthesis, you must have learned the inner flows of expansion and shaping. Important. And then, you know what? Do I have a? Yes, we do. Yeah, so this is kind of like the idea. Your elemental gate is the core of your powers, and then from there you learn the flow of shaping, the flow of pillar, or the flow of fortification, and then from the flow of shaping you can then learn the flow of synthesis, and then from that one the flow of creation, and so forth and so on. You get the idea. So important. Note that until so many references to the elementals, and that's not a conflux. Masters the flow of creation, all outer flow abilities do not create their chosen element. The elemental must either have access to the element in their environment or must provide an adequate amount of the element in order to produce their effect. Inner flow abilities, being tied to each element's metaphysical aspects, do not require the presence of the actual element. However, the elemental must have the elemental gemstone they use to actively attune to the element on their person in order to use the element's inner flow. So I think here I may have, let me see. Yeah, so I may have sort of like overlooked. So originally, and I thought I had written it out, but I guess I haven't. guess I haven't. So I thought I had written out. I guess yeah. So I'm gonna have to change the wording on this. Oh, so originally, the crystal catalog was going to be physical. Like you actually needed to have a ruby or an aquamarine or an emerald or a sapphire or a piece of obsidian. So you needed to have the actual crystal or mineral and then spend some time attuning with it to attune, right? To get access. Now it's more of a conceptual thing. Like these are the concepts of the elements. And they are referred to as that gem, not because of the gem itself, but because as a conflux you have that inner crystal, and it changes color as you attune, and when it changes color it looks like that kind of gem, and that is where the name comes from. So this is a matter of wording that is a little off because of how this class used to be. So ignore a little bit of that. Ignore the part about having the elemental effect. Let me just there we go. Do not require the presence of the actual element. Oh, God damn it. So the idea is that what this little note here is saying is that until you have this flow, which comes round here, flow of creation, which comes all the way after the flow of shaping, right? It's a level 3, yeah, level 3 of the flow of shaping. I feel like there's more that I want to do with pillar and fortification. I'm not 100% sure. I'll see in a second. Anyway, until you master that, you don't get, and I haven't fully written this out. The flow of creation is the one that lets you create the element that you're attuned to. Until you have that, create an element, the rest of your powers are going to require you to provide the actual element so you can control it. Basically, is what I'm saying. So it's like you can't, until you master this level, you can't create fire, but you're attuned to fire and you can manipulate existing fire. Is kind of the idea here that we're saying. So the elemental gate. The elemental gate is the basic thing. This is what makes you a conflux. Your crystal, that crystal core, is that elemental gate. So the opening of the elemental gate within a seeker is what makes them an element. You know what? Makes them a conflux. So I'm going to change this because it's called elemental gate. I think. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change because it's the same thing. It is a route from which all other conflux abilities flow. Select 3. Yeah, it's not elements. Select 3 essences. That's the word. Yeah, select 3 essences as your core attunements. So essences from the crystal catalog. Oops. There we go. As your core attunements. At the start of each day, you can select up to 2 essences to be active attunements. This lasts until you next rest. All right, start straightforward. That's how it starts. Elemental gate. Boom. You are now a conflux. So the flow of shaping. So the first flow, as we said, each flow has 2 sides. The inner flow and the outer flow. So the inner flow of shaping costs 1, much like with bulwarks, costs 1 to use. The inner flow shaping allows the elemental to shape themselves in the image of their attuned elements, gaining some of their properties. While at this level, okay, I need to. This is bothering me. So I'm just going to go ahead and select all this and control find. And yeah, I'm going to call you elemental. And can I replace find all? No, can I? Wait, no. How's find and replace? Give me a second. Edit. Is there a find and replace? Please tell me there's a find and replace. Oh, no, that's OBS. That's OBS. Wait. Nope. what is the command for find and replace here? It's gonna drive me nuts. It's gonna drive me nuts unless I fix this. Gonna need to. Oh, that's what happened. Oh, go back up here. Why are you doing? No. Stop that. There we go. Okay. Anyway. Wait, no. I can't. I need to fix this. What is find and replace? Control F is. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Control R? No. Why don't you have a normal menu anywhere? Is it here? Find, replace. Here we go. Found it. Fucking. Anyway, find elemental. Replace with conflux. How do you get that many spaces? There we go. And this is it, right? Replace all. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. And then I'm going to have to change elements to essences, aren't I? Yes, I am. All right, fine. Let's replace. Elements with essences. All right, done. Now, let us continue. I'm miffed at myself. So the inner flow of shaping allows the conflux to shape themselves in the image of their attuned essences, gaining some of their properties. While at this level, a conflux cannot actually become their chosen essence. They can assume aspects of those essences. Instead of turning to stone, for example, you would become hard as stone. Effect. Choose one of your active essences. Wait. Effect. Choose one of your active essences. Upon activation, you will receive resonance, which is much better than the +1. Resonance on any action rolls in which your elements, aspects, in which your essences would apply. You will also be able to sense the presence of your essence in the immediate area. Opening yourself up to conflux energies in this way does have a drawback. While this flow is active, you receive a -3 discord on any rolls related to your chosen element's negation aspect. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm going to want to reword this. But the idea is you receive a discord, a level 3 discord related to the aspects, to your essence's negation, to your essence's, to your element's discord aspect. To your chosen essence's discord aspect. There we go. I'm still going to need to change that wording, but you get the idea. You attune yourself to a specific element. You're able to gain some of their aspects, give yourself resonance in them. The downside is, since you became more like that element, you are now also weak. You gain the element's weakness. That's the inner flow of shaping. The outer flow of shaping is one of the more straightforward applications of the conflux's art. It allows them to shape and control their chosen essence into simple constructs such as barriers, projectiles, or handheld weapons and tools. These conflux constructs are not animated or otherwise controlled. Also, the conflux does not create the element. It must either be already present in the scene, or the conflux must provide an adequate amount of the element to achieve their chosen effect. So think of like Naruto. Think of Gaara carrying a whole bunch of sand in that giant gourd on his back. He could control sand. He couldn't create sand. They function as a +3 item that grants resonance on rolls related to the item's capabilities and the element's aspects. The shaped items last one scene and then naturally dissipate. So basically, it allows you to create items made out of that element that provide resonance on rolls related to the aspects of that element, both for yourself or for anybody else who is able to use that tool that you created with the outer flow of shaping. Hope that makes some level of sense. Manipulation, not conjuration. Precisely. You don't get conjuration until you get to the flow of creation later on. but hopefully that makes some level of sense. And then the next level up, the flow of synthesis, is where things get more funky. This is the one I had to make a note for it. We're gonna spend some time on it, but first, you know what time it is. It's ad time. Once again, how time flies. I feel like I'm just constantly running ads, and it's literally every 30 minutes. That just means 30 minutes are happening real quick. So let's just go ahead and get through those ads, and I'll be right back. And we're back. Ads should be all done. Let's go ahead and take a look at the flow of synthesis, which really is this one's the class fantasy kind of here. Everything else is cool, and I like it, and it makes conflicts very flexible. But this is the one that's the class fantasy. This is the one that's gonna make you, make or break you. Really, it's the one that's really gonna make or break you wanting to play this character. This is where you get to do some really funky shit. So the flow synthesis is the most well-known of the Conflux's skills. Conflux, apostrophes. And what sets them apart from those who just have okay, here I didn't need to. Here it was supposed to be elemental. Element-based gift. Let's see. Yes, the Prussian aspect of the game. It will break you. By combining 2, or as they advance, 3 or 4 of their actively attuned essences, they can create unique magical effects that neither element alone could produce. So the inner flow of synthesis allows the Conflux to take one aspect from 2 of their actively attuned essences and then grant those qualities to themselves, granting the following effects: +3 on any actions related to either of the aspects that they are currently using. If the action involves both aspects, then the Conflux gains both +3 and resonance on that roll. The effect lasts for one scene once activated. As with the inner flow shaping, there is a restriction. The final combined effect cannot involve the negation aspect of the essence, or the discord aspect in this case. Discord aspect of the essences, of any of the essences used. So before we move to the outer, let's take the inner. Let's take what that says. So we can actually, you know what? We can actually, there we go, split right. There we go. And we can actually look up here at the essences. So let's take sapphire and sand. Right? Let's take sapphire and sand. Or no, let's take sapphire and hematite. Cool. Okay, so let's take sapphire and hematite. So you use the inner flow of synthesis, and your two elements that are primed and are ready to work together are sapphire and hematite, ice and metal. And you choose basically Yeah, take one aspect from two other actively attuned and then grant those qualities themselves. So you choose from each of those elements, you choose one of their aspects. So from sapphire, I'm going to take preservation, and from hematite, I'm going to take durability. So those are my two aspects that I have chosen to take as my inner flow of synthesis. So any actions that I now take during this scene in which either one of those aspects could apply, I get a +3 on those actions. If I take an action where both preservation and durability would apply, then I get to take a +3 and a resonance on that roll. However, the restriction is the final combined effect cannot involve the discord aspect of any of the essences used. So if I'm trying to do some kind of effect, regarding to durability, for example, and I'm trying to resist an effect, but it is actually, normally if I was just using hematite, and I'm trying to resist heat or fire, that wouldn't be a problem. But since my other one is sapphire, heat is one of those discords, so it would fail there. So it is a little tricky to handle, to keep in mind. Confluxes are more complicated, but they're also incredibly flexible, which is their whole point. And then the outer flow, as a conflux, harnessing the outer flow of synthesis is always an impressive sight. By using this flow, a conflux can choose to either create an effect using a single element, just like with the outer flow of shaping. However, they are now able to control and animate that conflux manifestation until the end of the scene, or is destroyed or dissipated. This also allows them to refine or purify individual essences. For example, cleansing water of toxins, extracting pollutants from the earth, or drawing a specific metal out of an ore or alloy. They can also choose to create an effect using two or at higher advancement levels, more essences. Unlike with single element effects, multi-element ones cannot be further controlled or animated once they have been created, and otherwise behave like items created by the flow of shaping, granting +3 and resonance on all rolls that apply to any of their essences aspects and dissipating at the end of the scene. Note: this ability is both complicated and powerful, but it can be a bit daunting to have to come up with new effects again and again. Instead, work with your guide to define a few go-to effects involving your chosen essences and their combinations that you can pull from. And actually, I'm going to close this one here. Can I close pane? I'm going to do with control. There we go. Not quite a spell list. Your sources and combinations that you can pull from for quickly for common actions. Not quite a spell list, just those effects that you know how to pull off by heart. For convenience, there's a list of some common inner and outer effects combining 2, 3, and 4 essences at once to give you ideas after this. So I do have a section down here in which I have some samples. So we'll need to look at that. I haven't really looked at those samples in a while, so I don't know how well made they are. But I recognize this is complicated, and I do provide at least some examples, and I want to have more examples of effects that you can achieve with this. But in the meantime, before we get to that, let's go to, because we're on the last stretch. We are on the home stretch. We are 20 minutes from the end of today's show. But I've been having fun, and I think we're getting a really good idea of what these classes are. And then when we do this again next week, I think we're going to be able to dive in. Although I'm really excited. Next week, we're gonna talk about the crafters, and I'm real excited for them. So in the meantime, let's wrap up with the confluxes. So the flow of creation, the epitome of the confluxes art. The flow of creation allows them to actually create their attuned essences out of pure magical energy, no longer constrained by the surroundings or what they're able to carry with them. So this I need to work with. I don't have time for it right now, but I don't know what other sort of effects to have. The flow of creation may in fact just kind of stay as it is, because it really is just an enabler. Once you master the flow of creation, it allows you, it removes the requirement for the other outer flows to provide the element yourself. It lets you create the element. So now I think we're going to need to write something here for the internal and external effects, because in and of itself, it is an enabler, but it's also going to let you do its own things. Maybe I don't know. It might be simpler to just keep it as an enabler. Just that's all it does. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But we're gonna skip ahead to the flow of the pillar and the flow of fortification. So, so these are again a little bit more complicated, because pillar is one, and then fortification technically is supposed to, I guess, go on top of pillar. You'll see in a minute. The flow of the pillar allows the conflicts to strengthen and improve their core attunements, drawing more power from them even when they are not actively attuned. So, if you learn the internal flow of the pillar, the internal flow of the pillar allows the conflicts to increase the passive aptitude bonus of one of their core attuned essences by +1. This flow may be learned more than once and applies to only one of the conflicts' core attunements at a time. Once selected, the core attunement this flow is applied to cannot be changed, but the conflicts may choose this flow again during their next advance to apply it to an additional essence. A core attuned essence's passive aptitude bonus cannot be increased over +3. So basically, this is a way to strengthen and specialize in specific cores. So for example, you really like that ruby core, you like fire effects, you can pick up the internal flow of the pillar and apply it to your ruby, and now instead of just a +1 when you were attuned, you now gain a +2. And if you really wanted to, next advancement, you could pick it again, apply it again to ruby, and now ruby, when you're attuned to it, gives you a +3 on those things, on those aspects. So that's the idea. It's a way to specialize. The external version of the flow of the pillar, normally a conflicts cannot swap out their primed essences in the middle of a fight or while under immediate stress, as the process takes several minutes of concentration. But by applying the external flow of the pillar to one of their core attuned essences, it is brought closer to the surface at all times, allowing the conflicts to bring it forward as an active attunement as a simple action, making them far more flexible in a pinch. All the other usual rules for active attunements do apply, and if the conflict is already at its maximum active attunements, they will need to swap out of them to bring their improved core essence to the fore. As with the internal flow, this may be learned multiple times, once for each of the core attunements they have. This flow cannot be applied to an essence more than once. So basically, another strengthening flow. The internal flow makes that essence give more bonuses. The external flow makes it so that essence doesn't have to be primed. Normally, priming an essence takes time. You have to meditate, you have to rest, etc., to prime that essence. By applying the flow of the pillar to the external flow of the pillar to a specific essence, that essence is effectively quick loaded. It's not primed, but it's ready to go, and all it's going to take to bring it forward is an action. So once again, it makes you a lot more flexible, and if you're already specialized in that one, lets you, lets you refocus that specialization, lets you basically make it so that even if I don't start the day with my ruby attunement because reasons, I can always pick up ruby later on real easy, even in the middle of a fight. That's the flow of the pillar. And then if you have applied the flow of the pillar, both aspects, both internal and external, to one of your essences, then you've got the flow of fortification, which can only be learned by a conflict that has mastered both the internal and external flows of the pillar on at least one of their core attuned essences. Achieving this level of communion with their attuned essences helps the conflicts expand their capacity for attunement. While the conflicts will naturally increase their capacity for attunement as they grow in power and experience and increase their skills in the other flows, powerful conflicts use this flow to increase their capacity to learn and use even more essences. So, learning the internal flow of fortification allows the conflicts to increase their core attunement capacity by 1. This conflicts must still perform the attunement process ritual with their new instances normal. The flow may be learned multiple times. And external flow fortification gives the conflicts more power at their fingertips by increasing their active attunement capacity by 1. This flow may be learned more than once. So the interesting part here about the flow fortification is that it's supposed to be gated from the pillar. Like, you have to at least have achieved the flow of the pillar and have like improved one of your essences with both internal and external flow before you're able to actually start growing with the flow of fortification. But the flow of fortification from that point on is the one that you buy to A, be able to attune to more essences at once, so basically increase the size of your arsenal, and B, the external one, which allows you to increase the amount of essences that you can have on hand at the moment. So you'll be able to combine 3 essences and then even 4 essences by picking up the flow of fortification external multiple times. Hopefully that makes some level of sense. Again, I know it's a lot more complicated than the other one, but that's the idea. So in a nutshell, you here we go. So basically, you are an elemental. You have the conflux gate. You have opened your conflux gate, which gives you access to the flow of shaping. The flow of shaping, both internal and external, then let you access the flow of synthesis. The flow of synthesis is the one. The flow of shaping basically is you take a single element or a single essence that you are attuned to and shape it. Give it a specific form, create items out of it, and of course shape yourself with the essences of that essence. The synthesis now lets you combine those essences into new things, both within yourself and without yourself, and achieve specific effects that combine those essences. And then the final level of creation allows you to create those essences out of pure magic that then you can apply the flows of synthesis or shaping to as needed. As a separate sort of parallel track are the pillar flows, and the pillar flows allow you to strengthen your connection to specific essences. And then once you've achieved a certain base level of proficiency with the pillar flow, then you discover the flow of fortification, which gives you the ability to attune to more elements at once and or prime more elements at once, giving you more flexibility and more ability, especially with the flow of synthesis. That's it. I don't know how else to explain that more simply. So here's some sample conflux spells. I don't know, flows maybe. Flows. What's a good word for flow? Not routines. Not. I don't know. I wish I had more knowledge of like dance terms, motion terms. But you get the idea. So the outer flows. So outer flows combining 2 essences. These are effects effectively from synthesis, from the flow of synthesis. So let's take ruby and fire. Ruby and aquamarine, water and fire. The effect, steam burst. Description, the conflux creates a burst of scalding steam that fills a room, causing burns and obscuring vision for anyone caught within, and the aspects in use for this are heat and fluidity. Or a combination of tourmaline and obsidian, lightning and stone, electrified spikes. The conflux causes sharp electrified stone spikes to erupt from the ground, dealing both physical and electrical damage to enemies. Aspects, energy and solidity. Topaz, air, and citrine sand, sandstorm. The conflux summons a swirling sandstorm within the room, causing abrasive damage and reducing visibility significantly. Aspects are speed and abrasion. Pretty straightforward. Combine two essences and have an effect like that. Combining 3 essences. So take something like sapphire, emerald, and hematite. Glacier or frost, earth, and metal. Icebound fortress. The conflux creates a fortified wall of ice and earth reinforced with metal, providing strong defense and blocking passage. I would need to give this some actual game term stats, but you get the idea. And the aspects involved: cold, stability, and durability. Jade, verdant wild, plus quartz, crystal, plus amethyst, wood, nature's prism. Description: the conflux grows a crystalline tree that radiates healing energy, providing rapid regeneration to allies within its range. So aspects: life, reflection, growth. So as you can see, even though confluxes are kind of, a lot of their effects are direct damage, they're very combat forward, but they don't have to be. They can be defensive. They can be healing once they have enough flows, once they have enough flexibility. That's kind of, again, the point of a conflict, that you're very flexible, and if you're clever with the use of your various essences, you can achieve really interesting and really flexible successes. Something like 4 essences, so ruby, fire, aquamarine, water, obsidian, stone, and topaz, air. So basically, like, 4 of the base like elements. Conflux, vortex. Conflux creates a vortex. So basically, it's going avatar mode. Create a vortex of fire, water, stone, and air that swirls around the room, dealing multi-conflux, multi-element elemental damage, or multi-essence. I guess damage and causing chaos. You get the idea. Samples of internal magical effects that combine essences here are combining 2 essences, ruby, fire, and hematite heat metal, fire resilience. Conflux gains a temporary boost in durability and resistance to physical and heat damage. Or swift healing with water and air. Conflux natural healing rate is drastically increased, allowing them to recover from injuries much faster. Lightning and crystal, electrified reflexes. The concept of conflux reflexes are enhanced with electrical energy, increasing their speed and precision in combat. So a lot of these, they need to be fleshed out, right? I need to actually detail the in-game terms, but you're going to be able to, with the right combination of essences, you're going to be able to emulate a lot of the effects, I think, from the other callings, which is it checks out for this kind of character, the sort of sorcerer combining elements thing. Yeah, that's kind of your thing, right? You're going to be flexible enough that you're going to be able to replicate some effects from other classes by using the correct set of essences and the correct powers, and that's fine. That's expected. Normally, I am not pro dick stepping. Like, if there's something that a class can do and it's very specific to them, I don't like it when other classes can also do the thing. In this case, again, it's the whole point of the conflicts is that flexibility. And they're achieving a different effect in a different way, just that mechanically, I would probably make something like fire resilience act a lot like the bulwarks, tougher, and electrified reflexes are going to act a lot like the bulwarks, faster. So you get the idea there. Combining 3 essences, so you got sapphire and emerald, glacier and frost, earth and sand. Unyielding defense. Conflux's skin becomes as tough as ice and stone with a layer of shifting sand, providing extra protection. So, yeah. Jade, verdant wild, amethyst wood, and hematite metal, nature's armor. This conflict is encased in living armor of wood and metal, granting flexibility, resilience, and enhanced physical defense. You get the idea. These I might need to rewrite because they're meant to be more internal. They're going to have a physical effect, but I feel like I need different examples here. And then a 4 essence example for internal is fire, water, stone, and air again. Conflux synergy. The conflux gains the combined attributes of heat resistance, fluid adaptability, stone-like durability, and enhanced speed, making them versatile, formidable foe in combat. This didn't need to be here. Again, these I definitely need to rewrite this. This might be something that we hit up next Friday. Even, you know what? Even before we go into the crafter, who I'll give you a very quick sneak peek to before we end the stream in a few minutes. But I think next Friday, before we go into crafter, I think we need to revisit Conflux and redo some of these examples. And I want y'all awake. I want y'all awake because I want some suggestions from y'all in chat on powers. Save it for next week, not today. Today I'm not gonna add anything here, but I definitely want to redo some of these examples, and I think it'd be fun if people throw out their own suggestions. So before we finish up for the day, I'm going to give you a quick preview of crafters. Again, I'm proud of them, and I'm hoping to get to them next week. So crafters are their main thing is that they're going to be crafting items. They're gonna be creating items all the time, and so crafters have an ability called Crafter's Appraisal that's going to let them perceive, this is misspelled, there we go, perceive and understand the inherent magical resonance of an item or material. Then they are able to, through a discipline known as the discipline of the forge, and the various strikes within that forge, they are going to have a system for crafting. And this system allows them to find materials, and it's a very simplified sort of scavenging, material finding and acquiring system that exists that allows them to gather materials just as they go through the day. Then we're going to have a cobble, which allows them to, in the moment, create sort of slipshod items that give bonuses on specific types of actions. Then you're going to be able to take those cobbled items and harden them and make them more resilient. You're going to be able to, take items apart and get the core elements that you invested into it, get those back, as well as dismantle things that you find to get more elements. And then purification, which is a way of clearing up. So this was not done. As you can tell, I kind of dropped off here because there's more to do. There is both a in the moment, sort of in around, that's basically a cobble, where you get to just create an item even in the middle of a fight, just slap something together and make it useful, and sort of more long-term goals where as you're creating there might be side effects or restrictions that you have to put in order to achieve certain levels of power, and then separately you can do purification to try and remove those side effects. There's more that's going to come with Crafter, but there's definitely work to be done here. But I want you all to see next week the core of what I have, because I think it's a good first approach for a crafter that can still be fun to play in the moment. So I'm excited to share that next week, but as noted, that's going to be for next week. That's definitely going to be for next week. Oh, my lights just changed, so it's going to be more fun. Green tint. Now I'm going to change that. I'm going to clear that out real quick. So that means it's 5 p.m. When my lights change, that's 5 p.m. There we go. Now we've got the more. Yeah, that's better. But hey, folks, thank you as always for hanging out with me on our little Friday streams. We got through quite a decent amount of my game. We basically got into the point where that's it. Now I'm gonna have to start making shit up. And now I'm not gonna be able to just get away with reading something going, anyway, this is what I was thinking when I was making that up. Now I'm gonna have to make shit up, starting possibly as early as next Friday. I'm gonna have to start making shit up. I hope that y'all will be around for that as well and help me make some shit up. That'd be absolutely wonderful. So here's hoping that y'all can make it back next week. Bring your friends, bring your family, bring your enemies, bring them all. Until then, however, I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping up for the day. Let's just go ahead and let everybody know one more time what my schedule is, so that you can, if you're not subscribed or not following yet, go ahead and do that. That way you get a little alert when I go live. But otherwise, there on chat is my current schedule. So as you can tell, that means tomorrow, Saturday, then after that Sunday, and then after that Monday. There is no guarantee that I will be back on your screens. And I know that is worrisome. I know. It's gonna be okay, folks. It's gonna be okay. Now, I always say this, and this time I might mean it. I might play some video games tonight. Might be on stream. Follow me and you'll get an alert if that happens, but no promises. Tomorrow, definitely no stream because I will be recording, but there is a non-zero chance that we might go live as Fandible on the Fandible channel. Non-zero, but also not a definite chance. Very much depends on whether we're able to get some things off the ground early, so don't count on it. Otherwise, by default, don't count on any streams tomorrow. Sunday, almost definitely I will be streaming some video gaming in the afternoon, so keep an eye out for that. Mondays, I never stream. Mondays are verboten. No streaming on Mondays. I have my reasons. And otherwise, next Tuesday, we'll be back with more Curseborn. I'm excited. More Curseborn. I want to go through that entire game, and then I want to play it. Then I want to play it with people. I think. Hopefully. We'll see. But this is going to be basically Curseborn month at the rate we're going for. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see the rest of the lineages for that one. Really, it is a fun game. I like what they're doing so far. I like the direction they're headed to. So I've got really high hopes for that one. Until then, however, folks, once again, thanks so much for hanging out. I will see you hopefully next week at the latest. Otherwise, have yourselves an absolutely wonderful weekend, and I'm looking forward to our next time. Bye, folks. Which button makes me go away? Ah, shit. Which button makes me go? This one.